This is Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House, Crazy McCormick.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Crazy House. I am Crazy McCormick. Thank you for coming in on another week. How was yours? Mine? Although I will say I ended up getting a couple of fresh goodies, but I can't really fucking show you because most of the stuff that I bought was hardware for my gaming collection and stuff like that. But what I can show you is what I am currently playing. Star Wars Clone Wars for the regular Xbox. It's actually the first Xbox game that I had, and I had a little bit of trouble with that one when I was trying to play it. It also has Tetris Worlds on the other side of it. So this is a problem, okay, to me, because like I got to play both of those games, and my Xbox is fucking cooked, unfortunately. So like I ended up buying a fucking HDMI converter for that goddamn thing, and for some reason the fucking AV port in the back of the Xbox is kind of touchy. So because of that, like at any given second, it'll actually do some dog water type shit. So I unhooked it and I looked in the back of it to see what the problem was, if it was loose or whatever the fuck. Turned out that it's fucking rusted and rotted in the back. So I need a new Xbox. Went out today to try to see if I could find a new one. No dice on that. Uh, all the video game stores in town don't seem to have one, but I did find a standalone copy of Tetris World. So hopefully on either my Xbox 360 or on my Xbox One, I might possibly be able to emulate it. Other than that, week was all right. On Twitch, I've been playing a little bit of hockey. Work was fine. Uh, all the usual hoopla. Other than that, I kind of hope that everybody was doing some good shit. TikTok, by the way, has been absolutely fucking fire, and you'll find out why in a little bit. But first things first, though, we've got to get into some news. And once again, I ended up having to just do a rush job trying to fucking find whatever it was that I could uh, for the sake of entertainment on this show. And hopefully I can get to some stuff that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for the last couple of weeks. I guess we'll cross that bridge if we can get there. But first and foremost, let's get into some of the Juggalo related news. Some of the stuff that I ripped off of fucking Figure Lovers. And the first thing that I want to talk about is not this. For some fucking fucked up reason, that's happening. Okay. Allow me a second. And hopefully reactivating this will actually make things work. There we go. So that's the first thing that I'm talking about is R.A. the Rugged Man. Okay, so apparently it looks like Jump Steady was actually somehow able to fucking book R.A. the Rugged Man. I believe this may or may not be his first ever gathering of the Juggalos performing. And I'm trying to say that while keeping a straight face, and I'm not doing it very fucking well. Because we in the Juggalo community have this running gag where it's like, yo, did you hear that R.A. the Rugged Man is going to be performing at the gathering of the Juggalos? I've never seen R.A. the Rugged Man at the gathering before. Blah, blah, blah. That kind of shit. If you know, you know. There was like, I think 1 year. I think 1 year on somebody else's podcast, it just kept on popping up. Be like, did you know that R.A. the Rugged Man is performing? And it just everybody kept on acting like they were in complete and utter denial about the fact that in the past, R.A. the Rugged Man may or may not have performed at the gathering of the Juggalos. Now, according to what Fago Lovers found, is because of I think her name is DJ Lala. It's R.A. the Rugged Man's fucking DJ. Which honestly, if you know, you know. I think the other possible way that you could have maybe found out that R.A. the Rugged Man was going to be performing at the gathering of the Juggalos is if you talked to Jane Doe. Because I'm pretty sure she probably would have given you the deets. I believe they are related. But nevertheless, how I found out was ripping this off of fucking Fago Lovers, because Fago Lovers found out through the through the tour list of DJ Lala, and you can see right here that is circled right there, 813 Thornville, Ohio, the gathering with R.A. the Rugged Man. And that's basically how you fucking know. So, I guess if anything, it is set in stone. R.A. the Rugged Man is performing at the Gathering of the Juggalos in Thornville, Ohio. But you can also check out DJ Lala's entire tour list if you're interested in DJ Lala. Personally, like, I'm more involved with, wanting to know what the hell is going on with the Gathering of the Juggalos in general. RA is dope. Immortal Technique. RA, who do we good song. Okay. Hell yeah, dude. I don't, dude. I feel like that was butchered. I don't know if I butchered what you were saying or if you butchered what you were trying to convey, but bro, I think we both fucked up here. Nevertheless, let's just, you know what? I'm taking the L and I'm moving on. I'm gonna talk to, because like really, there is no fucking segue to go into the next fucking thing, because there really isn't a whole lot of news that I was able to take off of Fago Lovers. And there was this only other thing that I was going to talk about, but I don't really have a whole lot of I don't have like photos or videos or anything like that for what else it is that I want to fucking talk about. But the next thing that I will talk about, in fact, is the only other thing that I saw that was of substance and worth a fuck talking about for Fago lovers is Ouija Mac's next tour. So Ouija Mac's having another tour right here, Another Summer in Hell, featuring V Sinister and what have you. I believe that this is I don't know I believe that, yeah, this is officially coming from the homies at Psychopathic. Ouija Mac with special guest V Sinister and what have you. It doesn't say V, but it definitely says Sinister. So I guess we can take a look at let's go down the list. This is usually what I do. This is probably like the most boring thing that I fucking talk about in concerns of whatever tours are up and coming and what locations and whatnot. But I'm doing this just for the sake of, in case you can't fucking read this, it might be a good thing to know. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So we're gonna start off June 17th. Okay, June 17th, Minneapolis. God damn it, I did it again. I have a problem with saying Minneapolis correctly. Minneapolis, Minneapolis. What sounds better to you, you know? And I'm from the Midwest. I should fucking be able to say this name correctly. Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Underground. On the 18th, Omaha, Nebraska at the Reverb Lounge. On Juneteenth, it's going to be West Chicago, Illinois at the WC Social Club. Yeah, you never know. The Pope might show up. Duh, Pope. Yeah, I don't know if I talked about that last week, but apparently we have a Chicagoan Pope. May the, you know, I'm pretty sure that he's blessed the Bears with Malort and, you know, a fucking Italian fucking roast beef sandwich. Anyways, the 20th of June, Madison, Wisconsin at the Annex. So it looks like the first part of this entire tour is going to be all Midwest shit. So yeah, the 20th, Madison, Wisconsin at the Annex. On the 23rd, Indianapolis. That's where I get it from. Minneapolis, Minneapolis, Indianapolis. You see it now. You fucking see it now. I think that's the issue. Chicago Pope jokes are gonna, dude. Think about this, okay? Pope Leo is, I believe, only 60 years old. We got at least 20, 30 years of fucking Pope jokes. Duh, Pope. Duh, Pope. This isn't Malort, but you know, actually, my favorite thing was is since we're on the topic of the Pope, I'm going to say this real quick, and then I'll go back to this. My favorite joke so far has been, um, there was a guy that I saw who ended up mentioning that the Pope was from Chicago, and he's just like, and I think that, and you guys want me to fucking say something funny about it, but I think it would just be very disrespectful if I said, "May the Bears be blessed with a 4,000-yard passer for friggin' once." You're out of your goddamn mind if you think I'm going to say something like that. But on the real though, made the Bears be blessed with a 4,000-yard passer for once in freaking out life. Anyways, back to this 23rd, Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Black Circle Brewing. Okay, another, like, gotta love when Juggalo shit starts happening at microbreweries. Like they don't, I don't know if they know or not. Do you think they know? I don't think they know. Let's see. On the 24th of June, Iowa City, Iowa. at Gabe's. Let's see. I've been very critical. I've been critical of Ouija for certain aspects, but still has given me definitely two of my favorite albums so far, love and respect for Ouija. You know, to be perfectly honest, I like Ouija Mac, but I feel like that a lot of the shit that he's been putting out lately, not that it sounds like dog shit, you know, it's not, you know, like the stuff that he puts out isn't necessarily dog water, but it all looks and feels and sounds the exact same. It's like you can only do a certain type of cadence so often before everything just kind of melds together. Like the era of Ouija Mac to me has really felt like how Jay described being on the Psychopathics from Outer Space tour, where it feels like it's just where he said that it got to a point where it felt like it was just one long show because of how often they were doing shows day to day to day for like 6 months in a row, and it just melded together and felt like one long show going nonstop. And the same thing with these Ouija Mac albums. A new Ouija Mac album comes out every 3, 4 fucking months. So you're getting like fucking 2, 3, 4 fucking Ouija Mac albums a year, and it legit feels like it all sounds the same. He has the same cadence, the same cut. I literally feel like sometimes the only song that feels out of place is the song Ghost. You know, and that came out during Gutter Water. But nevertheless, it's like but like the main thing though is like when it concerns Ouija, even though all of his fucking albums sound relatively the same as the previous album, it's fucking hype as shit when he hits the stage. Like no lie. I personally think that Ouija Mac makes up for the staleness of having the same cadence and cut and rap style with having a fucking dope show. You know what I'm saying? All right, back to the dates. All right, June 25th, St. Louis, Missouri at Blueberry Hill. The 26th in Louisville, Kentucky at Bourbon Hall. Now, here, I know that, for all the Michigan juggalos out here, there's two locations. On the 28th, Battle Creek, Michigan at the Music Factory. And on the 29th, Detroit, Michigan at the Shelter. So we've got West Coast juggalos, the West Michigan juggalos, we've got the East Michigan juggalos. Everybody is accounted for. Nobody up in the north part of the mitten is going to come down here for that shit. And well, I don't usually count the fucking UP. The Yoopers, nah. All right, so then we got the beginning of the month of July. So July 1st in Nashville, Tennessee, the 58 at the Eastside Bowl. On the 2nd, Birmingham, Alabama at Workplay. Now, I have a friend of mine who does live in southern Alabama that I'm pretty sure she's happy about that shit. Let's see. Then he's got the 4th of July weekend off, so we're all good on that one. But it comes back on the 6th in Washington, D.C. at Pearl Street Warehouse. Let's see. Continuing along, July 8th, Chapel Hill, North Carolina at the local 506. On the 9th, we have Atlanta, GA for at the Masquerade. On the 11th, Orlando, Florida at Conduit. The 12th, Tampa, Florida at the Orpheum. Let's see, the 13th, Pensacola, Florida at Handlebar. So he's got 3 fucking days in Florida. That's interesting. Not really, but let's see, the 15th, he goes to Nolans. So he's going to NOLA at the GOAT. Okay, so New Orleans, Louisiana at the GOAT. Nolans, NOLA, if you will. So that's on the 15th. On the 16th, Houston, Texas at Warehouse Live. And then on the 17th, Austin, Texas 29th Street Ballroom. Let's see, consuming along the 20. Then he's got 3 days off, 2 days off, and then the 20th he's back to work in Phoenix, Arizona at Rebel Lounge. Oh, I'm sure this is where he's gonna fucking get his money because these are his folk over here. On the 22nd, Los Angeles, California at the Moroccan Lounge, and then on the 23rd, Sacramento, California at the Cafe Colonial. The 24th, look at this, it's a red bar, so it's a mystery show. I'm assuming that it could possibly be like Vegas or whatever, or maybe it's something that's going to be future announced, or maybe it might be a specialty show. I'm not sure. It's like this is what was given me. But on the 26th, he's closing it out in Seattle, Washington at El Corazon. And I find that I'm not sure. I haven't checked my calendar, but it looks like on the 28th, the let me guess, the res crossed out was Spokane. It could possibly be. Like it could be anywhere. You know? He might fucking take a red eye flight and go somewhere in the UP or the UK or whatever the fuck. I'm not totally sure. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was like, I mean, realistically speaking, it's probably going to be one of those West Coast fucking states. So he'll have something. He could do something in bumfuck Oregon or Forks or something, or Forks, Washington, or something like that. I have no clue. But I just took a look at the calendar. The 28th is on a Saturday. The 29th is on a Sunday. I could possibly take an hour or so drive down to either Battle Creek or Detroit, Michigan. It's a 1 hour versus a 2 hour drive from where I'm at. And I could possibly go to one of those two shows. It's a possibility. I haven't gone to a show in a while, so maybe I could fucking do that. Battle Creek would be a lot better for me. And then I could come back here and fucking tell you guys all about it. But let's just go ahead and move on to the next thing. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so I might as well put it on here because I don't have any footage or anything like that. But I've been seeing this thing on TikTok lately. There's been a lot of hate on TikTok, and it's kind of like filtered in to fucking Facebook and Twitter and some other social media sites lately that's been going on talking about all of this fucking negative shit about Sarah Rusi. Apparently, I guess like to me, it literally fucking it oozes jealousy within the Juggalettes, yelling about fucking Sarah Rusi and her content on TikTok. And it's like, what the fuck are you complaining about? All right, like because like I guess what it is like she does a lot like on TikTok. Sarah Rusi does a lot of these fucking TikTok videos where she's like making candy based fucking alcoholic beverages, and she's like making food and all this other stuff, but she's like like she's got fucking golden retriever energy as she's fucking making this shit, and like very bouncy and all this other shit, and people are fucking talking shit on her over this stuff because it's like the stuff that she did on OnlyFans in the past, which was kind of like pedo baiting or something like that. And it's due to the fact that she's like in her early 30s, and she's basically been doing OnlyFans since like she was in her late 20s, mid 20s, something like that. And to me, it's like, what the fuck are you fucking bitching about? Like, just because of some of the stuff that she's done in the past or something? And then trying to correlate some other bullshit and trying to involve Violent J into the mix and shit. Because, like, look, it's not Violent J's fault if fucking Sarah Rusi has apparent daddy issues. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like, why are any juggalos out there fucking bitching about the fact that Violent J is dating somebody who's like 20 years younger than him? He's in his 50s. She's in her 30s. Guess what? They're both consenting adults. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not really a fucking problem. Like some people have actually said something about how it fucking staples back to after Laney died and Jay fucking relapsed and he went to fucking rehab. And when he came out, he was on fucking Instagram hyper liking other people's fucking profiles until he couldn't like other people's profiles anymore. And I guess some of them ended up being on the young side. Like a couple of them were underage. And so because of this accidental fucking thing, there was this outcry of trying to claim that Violent J was a pedophile because he's following fucking because he followed girls on Instagram that were under the age of 18. And it's like, okay, here's the thing though. Knowing people these days is like half the time you can't really fucking tell what the fuck is going on with girls because like young girls want to look older until they hit a certain age and then they're like, well, I want to look like I did when I was 17. So half the time it's like people who are fucking trying to do that shit, like the best way that you can gauge is to basically you can ask outright how old you are. They could lie, until you piss them off, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I'm this age. You're getting fucked over this. Or like eventually at some point or another there are clues that are given in conversation to where it's like, okay, this person's not of age. I'm not talking to you anymore. Move on to the next. And it's very hard sometimes in this day and age to just look at somebody and be like, yeah, she's underage, and then move on. Uh, but when you come across somebody like Sarah Rusi, and then that's been his hyper focus ever since. And just because, I guess, maybe because of this huge age gap thing or something like that, apparently people had tried to fucking say between those two things, apparently there's a correlation, and Violent J is like a fucking underground pedo. And it's like, don't you think that with the way that the Juggalo community is, that if that shit came about, it wouldn't matter if it was Violent J that was doing that underage bullshit. Juggalos would no longer fucking be repping ICP. You know what I'm saying? To me, in person, always ask for ID first. It's hard to tell online, for real. For real though, So like a lot, and what I've noticed is like ever since like Chris Hansen stopped fucking doing his show on television, it seems like we have a lot of these renegade people who are basically trying to fish for this type of shit, trying to be like the next Chris Hansen and stuff. But it's like you do realize that like Chris Hansen himself is not arresting these people. Like Chris Hansen investigates, yes, but he's not really a part of the law. He gets the law involved. And that's where a lot of these other people don't really seem to fucking understand. Instead of getting the law involved, they decide instead, and a lot of people online that fucking do this shit, instead of getting the actual law involved, what they do is they basically try to get a whole bunch of their viewers or other people, other groups of people to ostracize this one motherfucker because of some loosely based shit that they find online. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on when it concerns like even the Violent J shit that I just talked about with Instagram, because like my ex-girlfriend was actually kind of involved in that. She was actually one of the people that he ended up following. And Jay admitted he was following a whole bunch of baddies. And Sarah Rusi, like, he literally said, like, as she was sitting right next to him in an interview, said that Sarah Rusi was like the number 2 baddie that like on said roster. My ex-girlfriend was actually on that list. She talked to him for a little bit, but then obviously something else fucking caught his eye and he stopped talking to her. she tried to fucking act like it was a flex, by the way, that Violent J follows her on Instagram. And now she's one of those chicks that, because of the shit that she read online, and now thinks that Jay is like a low key pedophile. Don't you think that if that was the case, then it would be out by now, and like as an actuality, and the Juggalo community would cease to exist? It's not like that they're fucking they're putting it on ice and keeping it under wraps for the sake of the fucking Juggalo community. No, you know how insane and absolutely fucking feral the Juggalo community can actually be, and this is one of those examples because we don't fuck with pedophiles. I mean, take a look at how we treated Shane Coates. When we found out about Shane Coates, everybody that was within his vicinity, everybody that knew Shane Coates was just like, well, then fuck that guy. Which, by the way, an update on Shane Coates. Yeah, he pled guilty and he's getting 12, 13 years. So he's going to have some fun with Big Jim for the next 12 years. And when I say that, I'm pretty sure that he would actually look at that as an endearing thing because he's a sick fucking fuck. Fuck that guy, by the way. That motherfucker got caught. You know what I'm saying? Violent J, on the other hand, is like, dude, you're just basing some stuff off of a bunch of hearsay and loose fucking speculations and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so Shane Coates is getting 12 years. I don't know what his whore wife is fucking doing. Fuck both of them. And not in the fun way either. Anyways, moving on with this, like, to me, I just feel like that a lot of this, all of this hatred that Sarah Rusi's been getting because of the way that she does shit on TikTok, and people mix that up with the fact that she does like cosplays when she's in her 30s. It's like, half you motherfuckers are cosplaying as like a goldfish, all right? Half of you motherfuckers, like, think you're a fucking animal or something like that, and then just to combat that, I identify as a fucking attack helicopter. All right. And that gets everybody up in their fucking feelies when I say stupid shit like that because it's funny. But like, you try to mix a bunch of this shit, like the way that she acts on TikTok, the fact that she has an OnlyFans, she does cosplay, and like apparently like the OnlyFans stuff that she did like some pedophile baiting type of fucking shit, which is like low hanging fruit for OnlyFans users and such and such and so forth. And so like she's like not right in the head, or bitches fucking hate her over this shit, and then people fucking hating on Violent J because he's dating her over this, like while she's doing all of this stuff. And it's like, dude, he's dating a chick that's almost half his fucking age, all right, and he's being supportive of her through being successful on TikTok. How is Violent J in the wrong for being supportive of what his girlfriend wants to fucking do for money? Okay? And if it keeps her in the house and keeps food in his belly, then what the fuck is the problem? That to me is the bigger issue. It's like, why the hell are you so upset about what somebody else does for their content? Why is it that what she eats makes you shit? That's a question that I seriously feel like people in this mindset really need to ask themselves. What is it about what Sarah Rusi cooks on TikTok and eats makes you shit? Why is it that whatever she's doing, you're getting yourself involved in this? You know what I'm saying? It makes no fucking sense. So like there's an option that you have here. You could shut the fuck up and then block her so her content doesn't fucking show up on your TikTok For You page anymore. It's as simple as that. And move on with life. Like there's certain people that I absolutely want nothing to do with I block them off of my shit. I don't want to see their shit. Their shit doesn't pop up in my FYP. It's simple as that. All right, like, bro, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, VM. The thing though is like, it's not just limited to TikTok. You know, like you go to any fucking platform and whatever it is that you're watching, why is it that instead of trying to start an argument or start a fight with somebody and just talking shit over whatever content that they fucking make, just move on. And it's basically like, I don't know, it's maybe it's a fucking mentality thing or something like that. Me being an OG juggalo, it's like I've been hearing this since I've fucking been down. Like Violent J, this, that, and the other. People fucking, you know, analyzing the lyrics. You do realize that you're, you know, analyzing lyrics from two guys who are trying to be shock rockers and trying to be a little bit edgy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have two guys that are playing characters in their fucking music with the element of shock rock. It's no different than fucking Alice Cooper and Kiss and things like that. Okay? It's no fucking different with people who are playing fucking characters. If people really think that Violent J is a pedophile because in a song he wrote once upon a time saying, you know, for only 13 she's got some big tits, then I guess that they also believe that Gene Simmons is a demon from outer space. Okay? No, no, Mary Jane, that's not the case at all. Like, I don't think it actually has anything to do with that. Like, I saw that shit. Like, I saw this one where it was like it had something to do with grape Fago and booze and shit, you know, and like whatever the fuck booze that she made, and it had a bunch of fucking grape flavored lollipops and Jolly Ranchers and a whole bunch of these other fucking candies that were used as garnish. And I was just like, are you trying to get him drunk or give him diabetes? Like, that's all I said. You know, like I said it as a fucking joke. Me personally, I'm like, I'm not mad at that. Okay. I'd be mad if it was Renee doing that to Shaggy because we all know that Shaggy has a fucking alcohol problem, which he hasn't drank in quite a while. So, hey, kudos to him. I'm proud of him. But, you know, but like, I think that that's not that big of a deal to me. Anyone check out the new masked band called President? Pretty interesting. It's trending everywhere. No, I have not. But you know what else has been trending everywhere? The next topic of conversation. Thank you for saying that. That sounds like a very good segue into the next fucking topic. So we're back on this, but yeah, we're gonna go into the next topic because this has actually been fucking trending. Apparently, gingers are now black.
I just need to remind y'all again, everyone who is ginger, who has red hair, those are black people. All gingers are black people. If they have red hair, they are black. You see a white man with red hair, that's a black man. You see a white woman with red hair, that's a black woman.
Okay.
Gingers are black. All gingers.
So like, and that was it. You know, like that comes up on TikTok. Now, this is one of the reasons why I love TikTok is because to be totally honest, like this woman fucking just came up out of nowhere. I don't know who this is. And at first I didn't even know that this was the original video that was talking about gingers are black. And like like in the construct of things, because obviously I'm not a ginger, you know, like yes, I'm white, I've got freckles and shit. I'm more daywalker than anything else. I do have a little bit of a red tint to my hair, like in the beard, in the, you know, up here it's dirty blonde. You know what I'm saying? Now here's the fucking thing though. This is the thing. In like within hours after this fucking came up, it went viral. And gingers everywhere just kind of started accepting it. And there were quite a few of these that were actually pretty fucking funny. This has been going on for days. I have seen funny videos, I have seen crying videos, and I have seen a lot of these Um, so the next two videos that I'll show you are some of the funny ones. Um, and apparently there are some gingers that are out there that are actually worried that one of y'all is gonna fuck this up because you're now being invited to the cookout, and one of y'all is gonna fuck it up for the rest of not of us, but the rest of y'all, and are gonna fucking go away.
Now that gingers are black, I'd first like to thank the black community for welcoming us with open arms. And secondly, I'd like to humbly submit my application to bring a dish to the cookout.
Okay, so like this I thought was entertaining. Just the simple fact that this month, like, I don't know if you heard that because it was quiet in my fucking headphones, but like, okay, so it just in case, this guy, he ended up saying that he wanted to personally thank the black community for accepting the gingers into their community, and he is submitting his application to bringing something to the cookout. Okay, so here we go.
Now I understand the initial hesitation, but I'd like to present my spice cabinet. Now my specialties are in barbecuing, and things that I need to work on is soul food, but
How did you say that with a fucking straight face? His specialty is in barbecuing, and that's obviously a fucking redhead joke, and then the next one is, I still need to work on soul food. Now, this is the idea, okay? So, like, this to me is this motherfucker taking that shit and just taking it in stride, taking the stereotype jokes. Now, you know as well, you know, when it concerns myself, I love stereotype jokes. All right. I've been accused of being racist because of my love of the stereotype jokes and shit. But like, and by the way, there are some other videos that I have seen. You know what? I'll get into that later. Sorry, my head's going squirrel brain right now. Maybe I need another Red Bull. I don't know. Where's my Red Bull? Did I bring that down here? I think I missed out on my Red Bull. Where the hell did I put my fucking Red Bull? Red Bull. Nope, that ain't it. It's somewhere around here. Well, shit. Anyways, so like, you know me, I like stereotype jokes. Now, like I said, I've been accused of being racist because of the fact that I like stereotype jokes. And to anybody who tries to say that, fuck you, they're funny. All right. This is a prime example. Okay. So I'm going to point this out. The fact that he ended up saying he specializes in barbecuing. The reason why that joke fucking takes is because of the fact that gingers are known for fucking getting crispy in the fucking sun after standing around for 8 minutes or less. You know, like, you get a ginger outside without an umbrella, they will burst into fucking flames. Okay? And the next thing that he ended up saying that he needs to work on is his soul food because of the joke that gingers don't have souls. Okay? Now, personally, I will say this. There have been some people in the community that, you know, in that specific community, in the red community, gingers have actually fucking said some of the negative aspects of being a ginger have been the fact that they have not been accepted by people in general because of their red hair. This is the reason why gingers are black, because there is a correlation with these two groups of people. People have dejected black people because of the color of their skin, and people have rejected fucking redheads because of the color of their hair. Okay? Which, by the way, another person on TikTok ended up pointing this out. I was yesterday years old when I came to realize that gingers are the N-word just with scrambled letters. Like, what is that, an anagram? Or I think that's what it is. That brings up another thing, Mary Jane. The fact that, yes, I have been attracted to gingers my whole life. As a matter of fact, I would probably say that one of my first earliest crushes was the daughter of one of my mom's friends. And I have not seen her since I was a freshman in high school. So that's like 1997. I have not seen her in almost 30 years. Almost 30 years since the last time I seen her. So eventually, I'm hoping, to be totally honest, like all of this fucking social media shit that I fucking do on, like all the time is just for the hope of getting the attention of my first crush, Shelly. Okay, so Shelly, if you're fucking out there, um, I definitely got to say I totally missed out on the opportunity of kissing you under the mistletoe when we were 13. Really fucking sucks. But but there have been redheads around. Now, I actually, after this fucking trend started going around, I really started thinking about the huge amount of redheads that have been around and my fucking attraction to them. There was a girl that I went to school with. Her name is Katie. She was fucking like, she and I have like knew each other from kindergarten all the way up to 6th or 7th grade. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. What's the Rolodex here? Yeah, Katie, I've known, like, and when I saw her again when we went to junior high together, and holy shit was she fucking stacked. Never made fun of her for being a ginger though. And she had hair that was about as fucking bright red as this motherfucker. So like there's that. Obviously, like Allison Hannigan from American Pie. Like there's that. People have also been saying, let's see, some other gingers that have been fucking section. Like here's the thing though. Like another thing too. Like a lot of female gingers tend to fucking be negative about the fact that they were sexualized and shit. And it's like, where's the problem in that? Okay. Let's see. There was a chick that I fucking hooked up with a ginger that lived in Battle Creek. Probably about like 15, maybe 20 years, I want to say like maybe 20, 25, somewhere between 20 and 25 years ago. I hooked up with a ginger there. Like she dyed her hair blonde, but once I got her ass naked, once she was completely naked, I did find out that the carpet did not match the drapes. So there was that. There was another chick that I involved myself with. I want to say around like maybe 2005, 2006, something like that. She was a ginger. I fucking made out with her a lot. She never really fucking got down with it, but it is what it is. We're talking about gingers, Swill. And let's see. And then there's also the homegirl Snaps. Like when I first met her, I was immediately attracted. And when I met her in real life, I was even more fucking attracted. I will honestly admit, right now we're not on speaking terms, but whatever. Hi. But nevertheless, like everybody's like, I mean, like I've been around fucking gingers my whole life, and granted, the whole fucking thing when it concerns like, the whole thing with the Chris, the here, let's see, what would be the word for it? Despite like all of the negative aspects of gingers and shit like that, because this is why gingers are black, is because people rejected them and made fun of them, and they were vilified and hated because of the color of their hair and also the fucking brightness of their skin. But I'm going to say this though, when it concerns women and being gingers with the fair skin and stuff like that, pink puffy nipples, and it's fucking awesome. All right? I'm just going to point that out there, okay? They're pink, they're puffy, and they're nipples, and it's majestic when you get a ginger to take off her top. I'm just putting that out there. Like I love the look of a fucking topless ginger. What can I say? Anyways, but like it's the same thing with black people. One person I saw on TikTok ended up, who was a ginger, mind you, ended up asking the question, since since now gingers are accepted in the black community, the question is that are they original recipe and gingers are extra crispy? That's not my joke, okay? That's actually coming from a fucking ginger. Gingers actually asked the question, are the blacks original recipe and gingers are just extra crispy? And the same thing with and it's like jokes like that I fucking love because in a way, when you have a ginger themselves that is actually taking the negative, this is why I love stereotype jokes because like you have the capability instead of making it hurt you, own it. And that's exactly what this guy did when he fucking did his joke. Like the last leg of this fucking video is hilarious as hell to me.
Hesitation, but I'd like to present my spice cabinet.
Once again.
Now, my specialties are in barbecuing, and things that I need to work on is soul food, but I think most gingers need help in that department. Thank you for your consideration.
See, like, owning your stereotypical traits is fucking liberating. And that's exactly what this fucking kid did. He specializes in barbecuing, and he needs a little work on his soul food, but I think most gingers are, like, the way that he fucking said that, he accepts the fucking stereotype, and that's what I love about stereotype jokes, right? I'm all over the place, so forgive me. It's just, it is what it is. But there are a lot of gingers who fucking ended up saying that they were kind of hated and shit on because of the color of their hair and because of certain things that ended up coming about with that. Like apparently there's a fucking unofficial holiday called Kick a Ginger Day, which I didn't even know that was a thing. And I've heard the phrase beaten like a redheaded stepchild. And personally, I don't even think that's like, I don't even think that should, I don't know. I'm not a ginger, so maybe it's in my mind that I don't feel like that should be too overly offensive. I think that's just a generalization of the fact that gingers are in fact fucking hated on because of the color of their hair. That's why you say something like the phrase beaten like a redheaded stepchild. For one, they're the stepchild. Secondly, they're a fucking ginger. So we already know that gingers are shit on for being fucking gingers. And so to me, it's like, there are certain aspects of this that are really fucking funny as hell. But those two things definitely I disagree with because I don't feel like that people should be beaten because of the color of their hair or skin or eye color or whatever the fuck. But the stereotypes are absolutely fucking hilarious. Like I have Irish heritage, so potato chucker is kind of funny to me. I'm also German, and like there are certain things that can be put out there because of certain reasons. Like you can point up and you can find some of those things that are negative about the German community. And sometimes you can make a good joke out of it. There's even a German guy on TikTok, his name's Mario of all names, who actually makes the fucking joke about being from Germany. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about fucking gingers. So here's another fucking video on TikTok that I
found. We're brothers. We're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
Now that is absolute genius in my view. Okay? Just because of the fact, like, these two fucking people took the Wayans show, like the Wayans Brothers TV show theme and made it their own. That is hilarious to me. And this is one of those other things that the ginger community has now taken it in stride. You can go on your own and find more of these gingers are black TikTok videos or videos in general. And, like, give yourself a treat and have a good laugh about that. Ever hear the rumor there are two types of gingers, hot and not? Like, they are either good looking like a god or not good looking at all. No in between. No, actually I haven't. I mean, to be perfectly honest, like, you know, I think honestly there are you know, like me personally, like for females and shit like that, I have my preferences. Redheads are definitely one of those things, but redheads are also one of those groups of people. They are a firecracker, and like if you get a redhead that's a Gemini, I think you might be fucked. Or incredibly lucky, one of the two. There's no in between there. Now, the thing about this, the gingers have no souls joke. So that made me wonder, what does Copper Cab fucking think about all of this?
15 years. It's been 15 years I've been saying that not only do gingers have souls,
Gingers have souls!
but we are also not white. I have been saying this for over a decade and a half. And nobody was believing me.
Right.
And suddenly, from out of the shadows, the blacks come. And they...
I didn't notice that when I started watching this. Oh my god!
pump new life into this movement.
You tried for 15 years to do this shit and fell on complete and utter deaf ears. All it took was a 30-second TikTok video from one black woman, and everybody's like, okay, it's cool. We're cool now. We cool, G? Are we cool now? My G. Like that, there you go with that. Like, my G. Right there. What's with this suit? Like, he literally looks like he's going to a Wolfpack funeral.
I want to personally, as the Martin Luther King Jr. of ginger people, a lot of people call me Martin Luther King Ginger. Your Honor, for the last time, I am a ginger!
No, you're more like the Malcolm X of the ginger community. Because Martin Luther King Jr. was passive, okay? Malcolm X was a little bit more aggressive. Malcolm X was the by all means necessary kind of dude.
So I am a protected minority, okay? This is a hate crime!
Now that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and by the time it was said and done with, that boy came out the other end a protected fella. They were calling him the Martin Luther King of ginger people.
I want to personally thank the black...
So he's gonna fucking base that... He's gonna base, like, the opinion of himself from the world on wavy web surf, saying that shit as a joke, and he's taking it serious. Wait a minute, I almost forgot. This is fucking Copper Cab.
Community, I want to say I love you. I appreciate you having us, kind of adopting us, if you will, showing us the love and the equality that we have always fucking deserved.
That's classic Copper Cab right there. Like, literally, this to me was like the most hilarious thing when it concerned me thinking about the whole gingers are black thing. Now, as an outsider, I am neither ginger nor black, but due to the freckles on my arms and my face, I do have the ginger gene inside of me. So I know that I can pass that on and create some more of the redheaded brethren. But like the thing though is like I noticed that as an outsider, I was kind of like thinking to myself, he is kind of like a matriarch or a patriarch or whatever the fuck you want to call it of the ginger community because of the whole gingers don't have souls joke coming back from fucking South Park. I don't know if anybody said it before South Park did, but that's how it was fucking, it blew up. It trended then. And then he was the only person who fucking who was visibly upset about the whole not having a soul kind of thing. No other ginger that I knew of at the time really said anything negative about it. Like, they kind of were like, we understand the joke. Because it's coming from fucking Eric Cartman. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Eric Cartman that's saying gingers don't have souls. It's Eric Cartman that's fucking hating on the gingers because they have fucking red hair and pale skin and freckles, and he actually thinks that gingivitis is like a disease you get if a ginger fucking touches you. You know, it's coming from a fucking paper mache cartoon. And he, as a child, was fucking angry as hell about it. So, but like, at the same time, I was like, okay, respectfully speaking, Copper Cab made a fucking career and became YouTube famous because of the reaction that he fucking made. And I loved it. Like, I loved the fact that he was upset about it. And he realized, even as a child, that what he was fucking doing was getting him popularity, and he fucking rolled with it. It kind of like dates back to, you know, it's funny because in the YouTube Juggalo community, at the same time that the gingers don't have soul shit was going on, in the Juggalo community, Twisted Ash was doing the Super Ninja. And her video went fucking viral. She got millions of fucking views off of that shit. Like tens of thousands of fucking subscribers. As a matter of fact, I believe she still holds the fucking, she still holds the fucking line of the glass ceiling in the Juggalo community for the most number of fucking subscribers. And instead of her fucking, doing what Copper Cab did, which she should have fucking done, she believed that she didn't want to fucking be known for that fucking video, and she tried to do something exactly opposite of that. When she should have fucking seen what Copper Cab was doing with the gingivitis joke, with the gingers don't have souls joke, and fucking roll with it. And Copper Cab even got himself a reality show because of that one fucking video. When you really look back at it, all of this shit with Copper Cab is because of that one video. And I bet you secretly he's not like this. Obviously, because of stuff that we used to do on YouTube back in the day before everybody and their fucking mother had a live show, we all hammed it up for the fucking camera. My homie embraced the gingivitis joke. He started calling up his exes and telling them to get tested for gingivitis like it was an STD. Yeah, I mean, that was the whole fucking thing. Like, it's fucking, like, that shit is absolutely goddamn hilarious. It's like, a joke like that can only hurt you if you allow it to fucking happen.
I am in the back of an Uber right now, on my way to my birthday recital. That's why I'm dressed in a suit. And I just want to say to all of you out there watching this right now, in particular the blacks, it is your fault that I'm coming back to YouTube. I stepped away 2 years ago, for my Spanish listeners. We're inclusive here. I stepped away 2 years.
He has to point that out.
I stepped away 2 years ago because I felt like I didn't have really anything to say because no one ever listened to me. So I was like, well, fuck this shit. I'm going to move elsewhere, and I'm going to just focus my attention and my energy on other mediums, okay? You know, I'd stream and all that stuff, but I wasn't really standing like I used to for this. Okay, can you please take it a little bit fucking easier? I'm sorry, and I'm not being rude to the Uber driver. Okay, thank you. Anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of funny though, because like a little element of old school Copper Cab continues to fucking pop out every now and again.
I asked him to not talk. Yeah, so anyway, I just, I want to thank black people Shout out to the blacks. I've had their back, just like they've had my back recently. I've had their back since 2011. I made a video called Apology for Slavery. Even in that video, I said that I'm not white. I know I'm not white. I'm a ginger. You know, I know I'm a ginger. You know what? Roll the clip.
Dear black people of the world.
Man, that's so fucking polarizing in a sense, because it's like he's got facial hair and no hair on his head now, but like as a kid he's got like a baby face and a full head of fucking red hair. But yeah, I guess this is the clip that he was talking about, like where he's apologizing to black people for slavery, which he really shouldn't, because like, you know, if you're ginger, you've got, you know, I would say that if anything, you've got those Irish roots. And being Irish, I understand that you're welcome for the railroads. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. Well, you're welcome. You know, the trolley is definitely a fucking thing based off of us, and you know the blacks and the Chinamen. You know, we're all in that fucking boat there. Well, not really, but really though style.
I know I'm not white. Okay, I'm a ginger. I know I'm a ginger, okay? But I'm a redhead. But I have white people in my blood. I have white parents, okay? And I think I can speak for everyone when I say that we're sorry for slavery. And you know, we didn't mean to.
See? Told you. So, you know, I've been saying this. And, you know, Hollywood's been saying this. Hollywood has been replacing ginger characters. Like they've been putting black people in the roles of characters that have historically been depicted as ginger people.
Okay, let's take a look at that list.
Ginger characters. Like they've been putting black people in the roles.
Okay, so let's go down the list here. Let's see. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to go through the entire list because half of these motherfuckers I don't even recognize. But obviously, you know, they have Ariel down here. Jim Gordon right over here. Daphne right there. Little Orphan Annie. Heimdall. And let's see, one of the Pussycat dolls. Or, yeah, one of the Josie and the Pussycats. I see that. Trying to think of who else I like what other characters I recognize. See, I don't know, Catwoman? Maybe? I don't know. Oh, April O'Neil? Damn. Let's see, yeah, Batgirl right there. So that's supposed to be She-Hulk. But yeah, you kind of get the point. But like the first one that I feel like that we really fucking noticed in the difference though was fucking Ariel the Little Mermaid.
Of characters
that's the one that we really noticed the most.
People. See Jimmy Olsen, see the Little Mermaid, see Annie, okay? And et cetera, et cetera. It's been happening for a long time now. This is nothing new. Hollywood has been doing this for a while now. Shout out to Beyonce. All of her backup dancers for the Cowboy Carter tour are all in red hair and ginger hair. Look it up if you don't believe me. So shout out to Beyonce. But yeah, so you know, I love the black community and I appreciate the respect. I appreciate the inclusivity that we are being shown by them. And I want to extend an official invite to the black community, officially from me, essentially the representative of ginger people.
You know, like you should probably be a little bit more calm there, sir. I'm just saying, like, dude, like you're pushing, you know, you're pushing it. You're in your 30s now, and you're a lot bigger than you were. Like, dude was pudgy when he was a kid, and then for the reality show, I remember he lost a bunch of weight and he muscled up, and now it looks like he's ballooned again. So that's not healthy for you. You might want to settle down there, sir.
You know, I'm the ginger Martin Luther King.
See what I'm saying?
Don't get it twisted, and I do it for the redheads because we need it now more than ever. I am giving all black people henceforth. I'm giving you the G-word pass. You can say ginger, yes, hard R, and you can say magenta with a light A. And I don't give that pass out lightly.
Oh God. Okay, like this is the reverse thing right there. Because like there was another video that I saw on TikTok that I ended up saying where like somebody ended up asking the question about like, okay, well, since we're black, do we get the N pass? And then there was another video I saw where a black dude fucking walks into his office, ignores everybody else except for the ginger that's sitting in the background, and he's just like, "What up?" He goes, "What up, my N-word?" You don't say it back though. And, you know, as he was about to say it, he was just like, "What up? Don't say it back though." And then he fucking moves on with his life. And that was the end of the fucking video. So that does kind of raise the question, like, now that gingers are black, do they get the pass? We already seen that they're invited to the cookout. Okay? Just as long as they don't bring a fucking potato salad with raisins in it, which there have also been black people that have been giving gingers the rules of the cookout and everything like that. I don't know where this is going, but there have been a lot of things that have been said and questions that need to be answered, I think, just so everybody knows. Like, to be perfectly honest, like I said before, I'm not a ginger, but I'm invested. I'm invested to see where this is going. And I have been enjoying the fucking ride. And by the way, within 48 hours, there's already a fucking t-shirt that says Ginger Lives Matter. And instead of it being in black and white, it's black. It's a black shirt with red that says Ginger Lives Matter. They've also been dropping the hard R and putting in the soft A. And as far as I'm concerned, even though I am not of red complexion, I still to this day will not say, I do not automatically change my thinking into saying that gingers are, that ginger is racist. Saying ginger is racist. I'm just being descriptive because of the fact that they are red. And so is a ginger spice.
Do you find the word ginger offensive?
Yeah, I find ginger when people that aren't redheaded use it. Black people can say the N-word. Spanish people can, you know, that word. And I feel like it's slanderous.
What if I say, that's my ginger?
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay? I love you, and I appreciate the love you have shown me and my brothers and sisters. And it is because of you. You beautiful black people.
Yeah, I love that he's passing this baton. Because like he said at the very beginning of this, he's been fucking advocating this for a decade and a half, and it fell on deaf ears. And then all it took was a 30-second TikTok from a black woman, and people are like, okay, it's cool. we accept this.
The flame has been reignited in my heart. Okay? I feel impassioned more than I have in years. 2-3 years. I feel like a phoenix, a ginger phoenix, rising from the ashes of a...
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll finish it. Rising from the ashes of standing out in the sun for 3 minutes.
I said fire crotch. That's ridiculous. Rising from the ashes and being reborn again. I feel reinvigorated, okay? And I feel jazzed, energized, okay? And I want to thank you. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart and ginger soul, I want to say to all of you out there watching, all of you blacks, much love to you, my ginger brothers and sisters.
My nigga.
And I just want to say thank you. Because, and I want you to know that although I have been saying all this for 15 years now, talking about ginger people are not white, because we are not fucking white! I have said this over and over, and y'all don't fucking listen, but you're going to listen now!
I mean, like, Okay, how much is left of this? Okay, so like I've dropped interest in Copper Cab at this point because I feel like he's just running on and on and on. And I'm pretty sure that there's some more jokes involved in this. I'm just gonna pause it right here so that way he can try to take your soul and get a new freckle. But one of the things that I was thinking about was like, okay, I lost it. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm just not having a good day with this fucking show, to be totally honest. Because like there are some things that are fucking happening that it's like I don't know. I don't know. Like I have totally fucking been fatigued at this, but like it's been entertaining as hell to seeing the way that a lot of gingers are fucking taking this and stuff. Now, like I said before, outside of the joking side of it, there have actually been redheads that I have seen on TikTok that have literally been humbled by this. And there was one woman I saw who was a ginger, and she ended up fucking just openly weeping, crying about the acceptance that the black community has given to the ginger community. And the reason being is because of like because of the fact that she has been forced to live with this hair color. She had been kind of hated on and shit on her entire goddamn life, and this movement, if you will, has actually fucking started to heal wounds that she didn't even realize existed. And she's a fucking like she's a psychology major and a fucking therapist. And she like once this trend or movement started fucking happening, like there have been some gingers who have felt very fucking excluded by other people who had actually really fucking just like felt some new level of acceptance. And it's like, wow, the power of this fucking thing is interesting as hell. Like that's the other side of it that keeps me invested, is watching other people and different reactions to this. Like some of them have been taking it seriously, and some of them have actually been their entire lives been fucking kind of taking it in stride. And the same thing when it concerns like even Copper Cat. Like I said, like for the majority of this video, he's really just hamming it up for the camera, and he has been for the last 15 fucking years. Ever since the Gingers Don't Have Souls video popped out, and he gained his popularity because of it. Like obviously, we know he's hamming it up for the fucking camera. But this is obviously Copper Cab's fucking way of dealing with that. Now, me personally, like I've never excluded a ginger because of the color of their hair, because I believe in including or excluding people based off of their fucking merit, not the color of their skin, not the color of their hair, or anything like that. But at the same time, stereotypes are fucking hilarious. So I'm gonna continue watching this because apparently my FYP thinks that my TikTok algorithm must think that I'm a fucking ginger now because this stuff will not stop popping up in my feed. But kudos to the gingers for having some sort of acceptance into it. And that's basically all I can say at that point. I'm going to close out this fucking part of the conversation and move on to the next thing that has absolutely no fucking segue whatsoever, because I wanted to talk about this because as I was preparing for the fucking show, I open up YouTube and it's on my gaming channel. So on my gaming channel is where I usually watch like video game related fucking content. And I saw something that was just like, okay, all I read was the fucking headline, and I'm like, you know what? I've got to fucking talk about this shit. And the video is actually titled "Collectors Are Destroying Retro Gaming, Not Resellers." Now you guys know I'm a collector. All right, I buy these fucking things. you know, I buy video games, I collect video games, I collect systems. I've been working very hard this week on updoing my fucking collection and connecting all of my fucking consoles to do streams and shit like that. So I'm curious as to see, okay, what's this motherfucker on talking about how collectors are destroying retro gaming? What the fuck?
Retro games have become expensive.
Yes.
So much so that they've gone from being games to being collectibles. They're graded.
See, that makes fucking sense. Okay? Like, dude, we're only 5 seconds into the goddamn video. This makes sense as to why video games are like as collector items are getting more expensive, because for some fucking reason everybody and their fucking mother who has a video game thinks that it's a good idea to submit their shit to Heritage Auction and WATA just because they have what could possibly be a decently looking fucking video game or case or something like that. Like, that makes no sense. Like, take a look at the bids here, where you've got fucking $1,900 for a fucking copy of Sonic the Hedgehog that came bundled in with the Sega Genesis, and it's already fucking graded by WATA. Like, that's bullshit.
Auctioned and resold as though they're classic pieces of art. And with high prices come the complaints. And there's a lot of them. I've complained, you've probably complained, and really, who wouldn't? Games that once sold brand new at retail for $40 to $70 can now be found on secondhand markets for hundreds of dollars, some even in the thousands. So who's responsible?
I mean, yeah, I have one. Little Samson I bought for $2,200. And looking at it from a pricing point and understanding how, like, the fact that, as an example, with Little Samson, I've explained this before, the reason why it's $2,200 is because of its limited run, because it was one of the tail end games of the regular Nintendo. Nintendo had been discontinued, and they want to fucking and Nintendo wanted to move on to the Super Nintendo and start pushing that out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's limited amounts of copies of that game, and when somebody is willing to buy a game that is much more valuable than what it's worth, I mean, it goes to an age-old saying, like, anything that you buy is only worth how much you're willing to pay for it. And if a video game goes up in value, it's because somebody paid for it more than what it was valued at. So, like, even if a video game comes out and it's like $35 when it comes out, you know, when it's initially released, if somebody down the road is willing to buy it for $2,200, then that's going to be the case. Last time I tried to get a copy of River City Ransom, it was $75. See, I got my copy of River City Ransom for $35. Loose, you know. And there are some games that are out there that are actually way more in value than that. You know, there are some games that are, like, let's take a look at the fucking holy grail of video games as of right now. I mean, like, the Nintendo World Championship games, those carts, there's only like 90 gray carts in the wild, and there's only 23 that are available in gold, like the original ones, not the fucking 25th anniversary ones. And those games run somewhere between $10,000 to $45,000. There are some people, though, that have actually taken those to WATA, and they have been graded and put into the plexiglass boxes. And there was one guy I saw who did that with his gold copy of NWC and was trying to sell it on eBay for $2 million. Like, no, there ain't no fucking way. You just fucking housed it in a plexiglass box. I am not... I'll pay you $26,000 and $10 for the fucking plexiglass box. But yeah, who's responsible for this is his question, I guess.
Complained, and really, who wouldn't? Games that once sold brand new at retail for $40 to $70 can now be found on secondhand markets for hundreds of dollars, some even in the thousands. So who's responsible for this? And what's the one thing that people seem to not be talking about very much when it comes to the conversation of the high prices of retro video games? Well, there's a lot of subjects to explore when it comes to the high price of retro video games. Factor number one is one that I think we can all agree on. And that's the reality of supply and demand. Physical media,
as I was just saying,
when something is gone, it's gone. And if more people want that physical item and there's only a few of them to go around, naturally the price goes up to the highest bidder. But then what does that say about game series like Mario or Pokemon, where even though there's millions of copies of these games that were sold, the demand for them keeps on going up, and it still continues to outpace the physical supply of the games that are there. And though they didn't sell in the millions like Mario or Pokemon...
by the way, I have a physical copy of Suikoden, which, yeah, that game goes up in value. But Suikoden is not necessarily a fucking big-ass, well-known game. Suikoden has its little niche copy. And then Silent Hill Origins, by the way, that for PlayStation 2, that's actually ported from the PSP. So, like, there aren't very many copies of Silent Hill Origins that are around for the PlayStation 2. Like he said, supply and demand. There's a video game store that I went to earlier today in my hunt for a fucking Xbox, and they have 2 copies of Silent Hill Origins, complete in box, and they're both like $225, which I don't have yet. I will probably not be buying video games for a while, though, until I get my fucking setup up done the way that I want it. I've got like 1,000 games anyway, so it is what it is.
More niche genres like horror and JRPGs, those games only seem to explode in price as the years go on.
Yeah.
And passionate fans find classics in the genre. A game that didn't do huge numbers during its original release cycle might later on develop a cult following and see its prices skyrocket.
Yeah, and that actually has something to do with fucking emulation. Because with emulation that comes around, like, people fucking discovered Super Mario 2 from Japan for the Famicom Disk System because of emulation. People discovered that Final Fantasy 2 and 3 were not actually Final Fantasy 2 and 3 in America, that Final Fantasy 2 and 3 were completely different games that were made exclusively in Japan, because Japan didn't think that Americans would be patient or intelligent enough to understand the concept of what they were doing in Final Fantasy 2 and 3 for the Famicom. So instead, they packaged Final Fantasy 4 as Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 6 as Final Fantasy 3. And we not only did Americans not figure this out until later when emulation came into play, but they also brought back like Final Fantasy Origins. I believe the channel is called Mort's Garage. That's who this is. But point basically being that, like, emulation has actually helped out with finding dark horse games. Like Little Samson is a prime example. Little Samson was not advertised like a lot of the other video games that are very popular, like the Mega Man series or the Metroid series, Mario. Like, Little Samson was not advertised like at all. Okay, it was a dark horse game that came in at the tail end of the lifespan of the regular Nintendo, and it sat dormant for a while until emulation became a huge fucking thing with ROMs and emulators and downloading them off of fucking WoW ROMs or whatever the fuck, you know? And people had the freedom to be able to discover games that they had never even heard of, and found out that a game like Little Samson was actually very good. And so, like, that actually boosted the popularity of the desire for collectors like myself to get Little Samson. And the same thing with a lot of Bible games and stuff like that, because those games were unlicensed games. And as shit as they are also collectibles because they're not supposed to exist. The Tengen games are another example as well.
See what I did there? Skyrocket! But ultimately, what drives demand for retro video games? Factor number one driving demand is cultural factors. Think, for example, of what happened during the pandemic. Games that were once affordable suddenly exploded in price.
But there were also games that had gone up. As an example, Earthbound. Okay, Earthbound for the Super Nintendo, I bought pre-pandemic for $150, or it was like at the very beginning of the pandemic, right? For $150. Like, Earthbound has always been another one of those dark horse games, and the reason being was, yes, it was advertised in like Nintendo Power, but they were advertising it as this game stinks with a scratch and sniff of a fart on the fucking advertising. Like, I mean, like, during the 90s, there was a lot of fucking video games that had a lot of dick and fart jokes, and Nintendo was not shy to fucking say something about Earthbound, saying this game stinks, but it might have actually backfired on the sales of Earthbound, especially with Earthbound coming in a huge fucking box that was packed in with a strategy guide, and that was probably offsetting for Earthbound. However, Earthbound did find its fucking niche with the market, found its cult following. Ness had become a popular character because of that, which is why Ness is actually in Smash Brothers. However, the game actually was up in value to $150. And then during the pandemic, it blew up to almost $500. I was lucky enough to get it at $150. The same thing going with other consoles like the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn, which are more obscure fucking consoles, especially the Sega Saturn, because a lot of people really don't know that much about the Sega Saturn. But during the pandemic, there was nothing to do, so a lot of people kind of like jumped into retro gaming collecting and started buying systems like Sega Genesis or PlayStation 2, and started buying games to offset their fucking boredom and stuff like that because of the demand of retro gaming during the pandemic. Yeah, it blew up fucking prices. I was lucky enough to buy my Sega Dreamcast or my Sega Saturn for like 60, $70, and now they're like almost double that for each system. The Super Nintendo is currently, when I saw it at the video game store earlier today, it was actually ballooned up to $119. The Sega Genesis I saw for like $60. Model 2, by the way. But like, hell, I still have the price sticker for my 32X. I bought it for $125. Let's see. I don't remember how much did I pay for my fucking TurboGrafx 16. That I don't have the fucking figures like right in front of me, but I can look it up. So give me a quick second. I can look that up like right now. Stop that. So let's see. I believe it's a high-priced system. Oh yeah, my JVC XI I bought for $559.99. I bought, but the JVC XI like that I have for, the Sega Genesis JVC XI, that's an obscure system because it has a Sega Genesis and a Sega CD bundled together. Earthbound is currently sitting at $350. Mega Man X3 I bought for $211.99. It's currently worth $300. Mega Man 7 I bought for $253.99. It's currently sitting at $276, but I bought that late in the game. Pokemon Emerald, I've had that forever. I bought it used for $15, and it's now currently worth $205.72. The TurboGrafx 16 I bought for $194.99. It is currently worth $197.70. But also games like that, well, like that type of shit, whatever. But hell, here we go. Sega Saturn I bought for $69.99, and it's currently worth $155.34. The Sega 32X I bought for $125. It's currently sitting at $177. But then there are also games that you probably shouldn't be as expensive as they actually are. And Def Jam Fight for New York, the greatest hits version, I bought for $139.99, and it's currently sitting at $167.47. The Miracle Piano Keyboard I have complete in box. I bought it for $90. It's worth $135. Like, there's a lot of these that are like way, way fucking expensive. I had a TurboGrafx 16 handheld back in the day. I wish I still had it. I found a Sega Nomad that doesn't even work, and it's like still worth like $70. Hell, the Sega Game Gear is up there. You know, like these things, these fucking trinkets, these items. You know what I'm saying? Like they go up in price based off of supply and demand. Certain cultural things that happen, you know, like the pandemic. What are some other things? Like, where is the fault of the collectors?
As everyone is stuck indoors. And if you can't go outside and do a bunch of social stuff, it makes sense that a lot of people would turn to video games, especially ones that they loved playing in their childhood. Games that people were paying $20 to $30 for before the pandemic suddenly could be found on eBay for $50 to $60.
Yeah, but like, and then that's, yeah, this is the sources from pricetrending.com, which is what I use. To be totally honest, like the original blue and red versions of Pokemon were not 17, could not have been $17. Like I saw them for much more. I mean, back in the day, like the remakes were like $35, and you could get them for like $15 on a reproduction card. But like anything from Game Boy Advance to current, for the Pokemon games, like the Pokemon games are offensively high in price. To me, I feel like that the prices for those games are very high in price.
The other factor is just cultural curiosity. When you see news reports of things like your old Nintendo 64 games selling for $1 million, you can't help but wonder if what you've got in the basement is actually something quite valuable. When things sell at a high...
Yeah, but that's not even for collectors. Those are just for the fucking casuals. Okay, a collector like myself does not give a fuck about WATA. It does not give a fuck about whether or not Mario Kart 64 or Mario 64 is going to sell for $1.5 million. We know what these things are worth. Shit like this, where you're getting them graded, is just offensive to your regular collectors. Hoity-toity bullshit-ass fucking WATA crap and Heritage Auction can suck my whole entire dick.
Amount, people perceive it to be very valuable because someone valued it at $1 million or $1,000 or even $40 when before it was much cheaper. And when something is perceived of as being valuable, it's not very likely that that price is going to go down anytime soon, unless the market crashes, which it still hasn't done yet. The other factor that I think might be driving some of this demand is modern gaming. In the 80s and 90s, though a lot of us played games, you'd be something of a social pariah if you called yourself a gamer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I got shit on a lot for it because I was obsessed with Nintendo. Still am to this day, actually.
However, today it's completely switched. My kids were telling me a story of being at a playground and someone randomly saying, "Are you a gamer?" And when my kids said, "Yes, we play Mario and Nintendo games," they said, "Well, you're not really a gamer." The idea that that's cultural currency to be a gamer, when as before, it was a cultural liability to be seen as a gamer, something switched.
Grand Theft Auto 3. And from there on out.
And I think that makes people want to revisit the old classics as well. After all, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo all have ways that you can download or purchase classic games from their earlier catalogs to play and enjoy today.
I mean, like, you know, if you get like the premium versions of like PlayStation Plus or Game Pass, and I think Nintendo's got like a premium version that you can get like a monthly subscription or some shit like that, like they have the capability to play like some of their retro games, some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And Nintendo, I think, has the best fucking combination in their library. PlayStation, they're very obscure because, like, at the same time, they have to fucking relicense these titles from their, you know, from their fucking dev companies and their fucking publishing companies. So for stuff like Game Pass and shit like that, like, they have to renew the license for these titles, and makes it a little bit more difficult. But Nintendo has been a lot more easier for them, I guess, to actually do that type shit. But yeah, like curiosity in this sense, yeah, that could actually cause people to want to buy the original ones. And since people nowadays really don't emulate like they used to, yeah, I guess I could see that being the price, you know, the cause of prices to go up, which is fine. You know, like to me, I personally don't have a problem with with this type of situation, because as a gamer, I want people to enjoy gaming. As a matter of fact, I gave my ex a fucking Wii because she didn't have one and she said that she wanted one. And so I just gave her one and I had an extra one. Didn't matter how much the value of it was to me. I want to see people enjoy themselves. And this is, with this being my fucking hobby and a possible future livelihood, like, to me, I feel like that this is one of those things that I feel needs to happen. And I don't care how much the fucking thing costs. I'm going to buy some shit. I already have. You've seen some of the shit that I buy.
One of the other groups of people that get blamed for the high prices of video games are YouTubers. Every time a creator highlights a hidden gem, the price of that game seems to explode. I can't help but think that when YouTubers talk about
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Metal Jesus rocks. Yeah.
classic video games, it naturally would drive demand because it's interesting to learn about the old games and want to experience them for yourself. Although that's also morphed into some thinking that retro YouTubers are somehow intentionally trying to drive the price of video games to be higher so that they can sell those games and make a profit. But the logic on that way of thinking falls apart pretty quick for me. So what you're saying is that if you're at the level of making videos that get tens if not hundreds of thousands of views per video, and you're going to put in all of that effort to concept the video, shoot the video, and edit the video, which is going to say take 20 to 40 hours to do, that 20 to 40 hours is going to then make a price of a game go up by 20, 30, or let's say even $100. That means you're making about $2 extra an hour or so, depending on the game.
Yeah, he's got a point with that. And if you're gonna fucking blame YouTubers, then the number one head that you have to fucking go after would be the angry video game nerd. He's the one who started all this shit. Which I don't blame him at all. Like, if anything, like, to me, I feel like that with maybe it's a little bit different for trying to compare Angry Video Game Nerd and Pat the NES Punk and Captain S, the like Angry Gamer Joe, and some other fucking people, and trying to compare what they did back in the day to what streamer, and YouTubers do now. They're basically like, oh, hey, I found such and such, check it out. And then people fucking buy it. I agree with this dude in the sense that makes no fucking sense that they're purposefully trying to drive prices up of certain games in order for them to fucking make a profit. So, like, when is Metal Jesus Rocks going to be like, I found this hidden gem called Bases Loaded because I have 2 versions of that. The game fucking sucks, but I got 2 versions of it.
I don't buy it. But I can also understand how maddening it is when games like Piglet's Big Game become worth hundreds of dollars because someone talks about how it looks like it's influenced by Silent Hill, or maybe it actually was. Because all of a sudden that $20 game at best becomes worth $150. I get it. So maybe you're someone who gets caught up in the demand and decides you want to buy one of those old classic retro video games. Who are you going to buy it from? And the answer to that question is a group of people who are among the most hated and most blamed for the high price of retro video games.
Okay. Oh! Yeah. Those motherfuckers. But he's also saying, the title of this video is called Collectors Are Destroying Retro Gaming, Not Resellers. Okay? Yeah, let's see the argument behind this, because I would love to see whether or not this is a fucking plausible argument as to saying that resellers are not the reason why retro gaming is fucked. Because, like, resellers, in my head, resellers are those people at the fucking flea market who will buy an entire fucking collection from somebody who doesn't know any better and then flip them to make it so they fucking sell them at their lot. Like, I've seen that shit at flea markets before.
Resellers. The logic goes something like this. Resellers go to garage sales, thrift stores, and flea markets. They buy up all the game inventory, and then they hoard it all and set the price, and that becomes the market price. Resellers are just greedy hoarders. When people want to buy retro games and collectibles, they have to buy them from the whatnot resellers, from the YouTubers who resell, and from the eBayers, and they gotta buy them at the prices that they set. But they should be setting them at cheaper prices because they're video games? For some reason, if someone finds a video game for cheap, they are under some kind of obligation to sell it cheap as well because it's a video game. I don't notice any other categories of collectibles that get this kind of rules put on it. And I don't know why video games end up being the thing that people seem to be the most critical of when it comes to resellers. It doesn't matter what the market price is for the...
No, see, like, the argument with resellers is that, okay, they'll buy a lot. Yes, they'll buy a lot of video games or systems or something like that. But what they're doing is they're actually, like, okay, as an example, the last Comic-Con that I went to, I found a copy of Metal Storm. Okay, this is a game that I've been fucking hunting and trying to find for the last God knows how long. Okay, I bought it for $300. Right? Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Metal Storm. I'm just going to go ahead and look this up. I bought Metal Storm. Let's see. How much did I pay for it? I bought it for $200 for the item and manual. The total value is $203. But at the time that I bought it, let me see. Yeah, at the time that I bought it, it was not. It was less than. Let me see. Come on, let me see it. There we go. Yeah, like as of right now, the loose price of Metal Storm is $112. The manual for Metal Storm is $89. So at the time that I bought it, the game itself was like $114, and I bought the shit for $200. Let me see the manual. Yeah, the manual has been sitting for like $99.99. So like the price of fucking Metal Storm actually started to increase around, let's see, it hovered somewhere around like 1997 for the fucking for just the game. Its earliest is February of 2008, and it was selling for like $19.99, and it hovered between that and its high price of $29.95 until around April of 2012, and then that's when it fucking ballooned. The highest price that Metal Storm has ever been sold at is $179.51 for just the game. The manual's highest price was $127.12. But like people will fucking well, like, so like the thing about resellers and stuff is like they'll buy lots and they will actually fucking up the price to give them an even bigger profit than they fucking should. Now, me personally, like, if I were to buy a lot, I would personally try to sell it for maybe no more than $5 or $10 above its initial value. So, like, if I wanted to sell my copy of Metal Storm that I bought for $200, I would probably sell it for no more than $210 or $215 because it's because it's the game and the manual. If I wanted to sell just the fucking the copy of Metal Storm without the manual, I would probably sell it for maybe $115. Just to get myself a little bit of profit. Now, if everybody else was fucking doing something like that, that would probably up the fucking price. But in this case, like that guy that I bought it from could have possibly sold it for $250, $300, and somebody who was none the wiser would look at that and be like, okay, if this game is that high in price, then it must be fucking good, which most of the case it's not, unless you actually know your shit. But resellers will possibly sell like a copy of, like, I found a copy of Donkey Kong somebody was trying to sell for like $39 at a flea market, when I know the value of that game is no higher than $17. So I fucking walked away. It's like resellers will do that type of shit. Like sell it for $20 if you're trying to make a fucking profit based off of what you bought it for. But if it's a lot, then why would it fucking matter? You know what I'm saying?
Game. If you got it for cheap,
I was in the Smash Brothers Club back in my junior year. I never even heard of that, but that's actually pretty fucking dope.
you're obligated to sell it for cheap as well. But I do want to mention, this does not excuse people who engage in shady behavior. Resellers who don't know what they're talking about when it comes to retro video games, and they overinflate prices beyond what's reasonable. Many of us have been to stores, conventions, or other places where it doesn't seem that people know what they've got, and they're asking for absurd prices on things.
That's
a
a
reseller. I
reseller.
appreciate the hustle and grind when it comes to building a business, whether it's reselling video games or doing anything else. Sometimes people do resort to dirty tactics when it comes to reselling video games.
Yeah, like as a prime example, there's a store that I went to called Play and Trade. All right, it no longer exists. It's out of business, but Play and Trade was known for these shady fucking tactics. Okay, like they had a complete in-box copy of Final Fantasy VII Greatest Hits, and they were trying to sell it for $150 because of the fact that Final Fantasy VII is a popular title. Okay, so they probably thought that if somebody was stupid enough that they would actually go to their store, see that copy, and buy it, not know, just because they know that Final Fantasy is a popular title. The reality is that complete in box Final Fantasy VII, I don't think has ever actually cost that much. Let me find out. So Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation. All right. Even black box price, complete in box, the highest that it's ever been worth is $131.67. That would mean that was priced at $150 since 2008, which is not even the fucking case. Okay, and like I said, that is the highest fucking sell value that Final Fantasy VII complete in box black box version has ever fucking been. During the pandemic, it ballooned up to a high price of $32.39, and they were still trying to sell a black box version or a green box version of Final Fantasy VII for $150. The highest value, let's go to the fucking green box. Okay, the highest price value that the green box has ever fucking been for Final Fantasy VII, complete in box, $35. That's the highest value that has ever fucking been in the history of green box pricing for Final Fantasy VII. That has been the highest value complete in box that has ever fucking been. Brand new price, on the other hand, $160.19 for a green box. The black box, new, is currently at $1,000. Yeah, $1,068 for a new sealed copy of Final Fantasy VII Black Box. But also, Play and Trade was also, and I personally disagree with this, that that used video game stores actually do this type of shit, where they'll buy fucking repro carts. At one of those stores for Play and Trade, I found a repro cart for Final Fantasy III that was a reproduction cart on an NES cartridge, right? I also found Mother for the Famicom packaged in a fucking in an NES cart, packaged as Earthbound Beginnings. And I knew for a fact that both of those games were Japanese imports that were ported onto a reproduction cart. And I told them that their pricing for these games was wrong, because Final Fantasy III for the Famicom, they were trying to value it as if it was Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo, and they were trying to sell it for $150. The same thing with Earthbound Beginnings. They priced it as if it was Earthbound for the Super Nintendo because they don't know any fucking better. And both of these carts were they were trying to sell reproduction carts for $150 based off of their Super NES counterparts. And I told them flat out that these are reproduction carts. They're not actual NES games, and they're overpricing them, let alone selling them. And they were like, well, let me take a look at it. They pop it into a top loader, start playing it, and they're like, well, it plays fine. And it's like, are you fucking retarded? Did you not listen to what the fuck I just said? These are not real. Okay, they are imports from Japan that are into reproduction carts. They're not worth this much. Okay, and if you think that I'm lying to you, look it up online. So they did, and they were like, well, we're still gonna fucking sell it. No, they're not Chinese imports. They're like some of them. There are some people who actually have reproduction carts, and they actually mass sell them. It's not that they're fucking coming from China. But the fact is like, okay, yeah, that like I told these people this. They didn't listen to a word I said. 2 months later, their store went out of business. Gee, I wonder why. Somebody should have told you that what you were doing was inflating your prices to bullshit ass prices that nobody else in the city is fucking selling these as at their fucking stores. So maybe you should cut down on the prices a little bit. But fuck me, right? Because it's not like I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. And it's funny as hell to me because my entire fucking teens and 20s, I wanted to work at a fucking video game store because this is my niche. Every single time that I have applied at these fucking places, they have just fucking passed me by. I literally have years of fucking experience and knowledge in video gaming industry, and you people just would pass me by. And then your stores would go out of business, whether it be a fucking used video game store or a brick and mortar store like GameStop. Fuck you people. Guess what? Now I actually have the capability to fucking talk about this shit and make a little bit of scratch. I'm making a little bit more scratch than the people who are fucking running video game stores are making now because of the stuff that I talk about them. They're just ROM hacks put on shitty boards. Yeah, basically, no, what it is like they're hacking, they're translating the hacks to English and then putting them on the boards and then putting them out there. Like Pokemon carts, like the reproduction carts that they have at the, that they put Pokemon games on. Like I've bought those. I bought those because like they were cheaper than the ones that were authentic, and I didn't know any wiser at the time. I didn't understand the concept of reproduction carts. But once I found out that they were reproduction carts, once I popped them into my fucking Game Boy, I found out real fucking quick. And believe me when I say, like, that actually helped me out in the near future when I started collecting again. And like I know my fucking shit. Like I know what to look for when I'm hunting and shit. Like there have been a lot of things that I have passed just because of shit like that fucking happening, even at flea markets. But like me personally, I feel like resellers like this that try to fucking gouge the prices and the shit that I just said about Final Fantasy VII, like fuck those people. Those people can eventually end up being one of the reasons why video game prices go up. And it's not because of interest to me. Like they're like, yeah, like interest in obscure games and stuff like that might possibly be a good reason why the price goes up a little bit, but resellers that fucking buy lots and overprice shit and don't even know what the fuck they have half the time are the reason why people who, they're basically taking advantage of people who don't know. And to me, I feel like that's one of the reasons. Like, luckily for me, I know what I'm fucking buying, and I always will tell somebody to make sure they know what they're fucking doing if they're actually hunting for video games. I use pricecharting.com as a means to determine the basis of whether or not I'm actually going to fucking buy a game. It's just, because if I'm fucking buying a game if I'm not looking for it and it's overpriced, I'm not buying it. You know, sometimes I'll make an impulse decision like I did with fucking Metal Storm. But with Metal Storm, that's a different story because like I've been searching for that game for 30 fucking years. Obviously I'm going to make a determination and an impulse decision on that type of shit. The same thing with my fucking Xbox. I bought my Xbox from Play and Trade. Big mistake. And the reason being is because that thing does not work. Now I have to go out of my way to try to find another Xbox so I can play Xbox games for my streaming channel. And this one I'm going to end up fucking flipping around and selling for parts. Little did I notice that when I bought the Xbox, there was rust and discoloration in the fucking back. I didn't think anything of it. And now, because of that, like the fucking AV port is jiggly, so it keeps on causing my fucking regular Xbox to constantly shut off or reset itself. Gimme. I want the R2D2 Xbox. And you know, like, I on one hand am planning on fucking possibly buying an Xbox off of eBay, or there's like a friend of mine who has said that she's willing to donate her Xbox to me, but she still hasn't found it in her storage. So it's like, okay, fish or cut bait. Either way, I'm gonna fucking eventually get another Xbox. All right, does he have more to say about resellers? Fuck those people.
Pressuring people to make deals that they're obviously uncomfortable making. When it comes to conventions, cutting in line early and getting ahead of people who paid for VIP passes to buy games, outright lying about the price of an item or downplaying it when someone asks you how much something is worth. I don't think dishonesty is a very good policy, but even the resellers who are playing fair, how come they end up being the bad guys as well? One presumption I have is that sometimes people get...
I mean, dude, you pick and choose your fucking battles, okay? Like, there are some resellers that are actually fucking good with what it is that they have and how much they're willing to sell it for. There are some resellers at conventions that actually, you know, they sell at decent prices or try to make a little bit of a profit. I understand the market, you know? But here's the thing, though. With resellers, most of the resellers that are at cons have video game stores that are around that central area. The one that I bought Metal Storm from and a couple of other games from, like I bought Irgies, which I had no idea that it was actually an American fucking title for the PlayStation. I bought that and Metal Storm and I think Double Dragon 5 and a couple of other fucking games from that convention, and the store that they have it from is from Chicago. They knew their shit, but there's also like they knew their shit. I let them know I know my shit. I told them this is overpriced, but fucking I'm gonna buy it. You know, it's fucking Metal Storm. I've been searching for that game for 30 fucking years. So let's see. I remember as a kid having a big TV meant that you were rich. Now everyone has a big TV. Well, yeah, because like we're adults and we have adult money now, Trailer Park. That's the thing. We're adults with adult money and we make these impulse decisions because we didn't have it as a kid and now we want the big fucking TV. Like to me, a big TV back in the day was like a 27-inch fucking tube TV. Like if I could barely fucking pick it up and carry it, it was big, you know, and a 27-inch tube TV, holy shit. But then when you get a plasma screen TV, that's a different fucking story. But anyways, like, not all resellers are the bad guys. I talk with some of these people, and if they know what the fuck they're talking about and what they've got, you know, then great. Like, I'm more privy to fucking sell, you know, I'm more than privy to actually be willing to buy my services and give them my fucking money. But like half the time, like the people that used to work at Play and Trade, they figured that you know there was money in the shit. They really didn't know what they fucking had half the time, and most of the people that were working for them were dumbass fucking bimbos that didn't know shit from Shinola. Sorry, but I like my bimbos to know what the fuck video games are and what value they're worth and why they're worth the value. You know, if you're gonna have a fucking job at a video game store, have a little bit of knowledge outside of just playing Call of Duty and being like, "Oh, please go easy on me. I'm just a girl." Fuck you. Let's see. I just need an OG Xbox to play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. No, dude, you can play Knights of the Old Republic if you have the game for regular Xbox. You can play it on your Xbox One. You don't need a regular Xbox for that. Because it actually emulates on the Xbox One and maybe the Xbox 360. So if you already have an Xbox One, just get KOTOR and you're good to go. The same thing goes for Clone Wars, because I'm playing that on my Xbox One as well. But stick drift is a motherfucker. Just putting that out there.
Get so excited to buy an item, and they spend maybe $100 on, let's say, a Pokemon game, and are so excited to finally play it and relive it again. But then when they get home and maybe the dust has settled from the purchase, they maybe went a little past their budget, they start to feel a little bit bad about, why did I spend so much on this game? Who gets the blame for that? Well, the reseller does, because that's who they bought it from. The demand is the thing.
I mean, no, like, when I make a fucking impulse decision and fucking, like, look, when I make an impulse decision and buy something with money I don't have on things I don't need, I know for a fact I'm the one who's at fault, and I accept that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. I accept that. For the majority of the time that I'm buying these fucking things, I know what I'm getting into if I buy something that's obviously overpriced. So it's my own fault at that. It's not the fault of the fucking it's not the fault, you know, like, it's the fault of the reseller for putting the price on there, but it's my fault if I buy it. Okay? Like, that's how I look at it. But the resellers, for the most part, the ones that don't know what the fuck they have, and they just overprice shit to an offensively high price, they're at fault either way. They just share the fault with the people who are stupid enough to buy it.
Thing that ultimately sets the price. In fact, if you want to change this, what you have to do is stop buying from resellers. But the disproportionate amount of criticism that resellers get when it comes to selling retro video games and collectibles, when compared to other similar markets, is noticeable. But there's still another reseller factor that I think does count for something here in this conversation. And it's the demand not just from buyers, but from sellers. A lot of people who resell have seen the price of retro video games go up, and there's some basic rules that are pretty easy to follow. The older the game, the higher likelihood the value, and it seems like everyone has become a reseller. So
no, not really. Like, Lethal Enforcers, yeah, that's gonna be high in price because that's got some shit. But like, let's see if there's anything on here that has a fucking high price on it. So like the PSP Go like, you can see the PSP Go right there. They're selling it for $250. That makes sense because it's coming complete in box. Let's see. I'm talking about the Philips 2832 PW6006. That's what I grew. No, I don't know that. Like, I don't know TVs based off of models. You know, like, there's that. Like, video games, on the other hand, is a completely fucking different story. But anyways, yeah, so you take a look at this PSP Go here for $250. Like, that is a tail end fucking console, handheld console, and they're selling it for fucking $250. That makes sense to me because it's complete in box, right? And if they open the box and they actually show that shit, then yeah. But like the older the game is, the chances are pretty good that they're going to be higher in value. But like, yeah, I would love to see somebody be like, oh yeah, let's just take a fucking game that nobody likes, like, as a prime example. I'm just going to go back to Bases Loaded. Okay? Bases Loaded sucks. It's a terrible fucking game. It's an earlier fucking game. And do you really think that they're going to try to sell that game for $50? Nobody's really going to fucking understand that. Like, literally, you know the best thing that you can do to combat these fucking resellers, if you are a flea market goer, or if you go to cons and you fucking buy these goddamn things, whip out your fucking phone, download the price charting app, And when you start buying games from resellers, compare and contrast. Like literally, just go on your phone, because I have 2 different versions of price charting added onto my phone. So just download the price charting app. Yeah, send me notifications, please. So you can go on there, you can search for the fucking game that is in question and narrow down your search and fucking just do it right in front of them. If you feel fucking iffy about a reseller at flea markets or conventions, be a dick. Okay? Especially if you see a price that is like way overpriced. As a matter of fact, you know what? Since we're doing this as an example, I'm going, since I mentioned the PSP Go sitting right there, PSP Go, I'm going to fucking look it up right here. So, okay, PSP. Yep, there's the PSP Go. PSP Go Cam, PSP Go Silver. Okay, the PSP Go Black. All right. So, right there, the PSP Go, you know what? I'm going to bring this over here just so that way you guys can see it. Like showing on here, the PSP Go Black is currently just by itself $146.99. Complete in box is currently $200. All right, here I'll zoom in so that way you guys can see it for yourselves. So there you go. There's the prices for the PSP Go Black. It is currently $199.34 for that. Now, if you go over here, you see right here, it says that it's $250. So this is the battle that you would have. Would you be willing to take the risk of buying that for an extra $50? Especially with this being complete in box, mind you. Or would you try to haggle it down to 200? Would you try to convince them to bring it down to 200 where it actually sits? See, me personally, I think that it would 150. Okay, but keeping in mind, Swill, 150 is the value that it's worth by itself. Just by itself. No box, no instruction manual, and some people actually fucking buy these complete. Okay, there are some people that actually do that shit. You'll start, okay, so like your idea is to try to haggle it down $100, 180 cash. See, I would try to fucking do what I can to match it to be like, at best, I would let them see what I would do. Like me personally, like I'm not willing to eat $50, but I am willing to eat maybe 15 at best. Okay, so what I would do is I would let them know, hey, according to this, complete in box, it's worth $199. Can we go with 100? Can we go with 200? And then they'll probably say like 230 or something like that, 240, and eventually the eventual market price would like they would probably sell it to me for maybe 215. Which, by the way, I am currently in the process of looking for a PSP Go. I have a PSP 1000 model. I have a 3000 model. And currently I am trying to look for a Go because I found out that a Go actually can be mounted into a docking station and played on here. And if that's the case, then I can possibly play the PSP Go and play the PSP games and play that. That looked like a yard sale. I play hardball. But like they're like, and they're but like there's also I guess it would say depends on my mood personally, because like in some cases, I would probably look at that and be like, I'm not even going to touch it, because it really depends on how shifty I'm feeling that the reseller actually is. But yeah, this definitely looks like a yard sale or something to that effect. Because you can see a parking lot sitting out there. It's not a flea market. Flea market resellers are usually dickholes who think that like older, more obscure video games are going to be higher in price. The older that they are, the higher the value of them are, and they don't even really know what they have. And some of them that do know what they have are going to believe that the people who are going to buy them don't know what they have, because mostly the people that buy shit at flea markets are all old people who don't know better. And it's like, yeah, fuck you. Taking advantage of old people is always wrong.
Now if there's demand
Unless the old people are dicks, then they have it coming.
from people who want to play these older games.
Okay, look at this. Look at this Nintendo game down here. They have Super Mario Brothers, right? I can see right here Super Mario Brothers, and it's probably Mario and Duck Hunt, the Mario Duck Hunt combo, trying to sell it for $20. That game I bought for $5 loose. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? And then you've got Empire Strikes Back over here for $35. Complete in box, that might be questionable. But me personally, I only give a fuck about whether or not the game is complete in box if it's a disc-based game. So if I have a if I have a Sega Genesis game, at the very least, the jewel casing has to be real. But for the most part, with like PlayStation 1 games, I want those games to be complete. So it's in its natural jewel case. It's actually got the manual. The same thing with the Sega Saturn games, PlayStation 2, 3, 4. Like with anything that's like DVD or something like that, DVD or Blu-ray based, I prefer at the very least game and case. Maybe they overprice you so you can feel like you're getting a deal hey, come on down. No, like, for the most part, I feel like most resellers resellers at flea markets, for the most part, I think they bank on the idea of people buying their shit and not knowing what the true value of those items are. And so they overprice it in the hopes that some old granny is going to buy a fucking video game or a video game system from them, not knowing what they're fucking buying and overpricing it. And it's to me, I feel like it's mostly old people that get fucked over, or people that are just Johnny come latelys. Like, for example, like they were saying earlier on in the video, during the pandemic, the fucking retro gaming community had a boom because everybody was buying up all the retro shit. Like they say 20, so you offer 10 and settle at 15, and that's what they really wanted anyways. So I disagree with that. I think that they are, I honestly think that most resellers are shifty and are trying to fucking make more profit than what they actually fucking, the value of these games are, Didn't that what Robin Hood thing? I remember fucking, I remember the GameStop It's Ma'am. Like, that's the only thing I really thought of that I could think of involving GameStop. Yeah, but that had nothing to do with the video game industry. That actually had to do with that had nothing to do with the gaming industry itself or resellers. That had to do with hedge funds that were taking advantage of markets that like in the stock trading that were lower, and somehow they would be able to take the fucking money from, like they would be able to make a benefit from the value of that publicly traded stock to go under, which Wall Street Bets ended up finding out about that, and they actually they actually turned it around. So the higher the value of the fucking stock trading went, the more money the hedge fund fucking lost. So they basically flipped the script on the hedge funds and caused them to lose millions of fucking dollars. Meanwhile, GameStop's prices in stock went up. Hell, there was a kid who ended up earning a couple $1,000s because of the GameStop shit that happened a couple years ago. But yeah, that actually had nothing to do with like resellers or anything of that nature. And my fucking camera just froze. Give me a sec. There we go. But yeah, I want that Sega Saturn game. I don't know what it is, but I want it. Yeah, I've tried to get a job at GameStop too. I stopped by the time I was like 26 because like they would not hire me for for some fucking reason. It's like I know a lot of this shit, and I knew what a lot of old stuff was worth. So it was like I could talk to people. You always get those fucking middle-aged women at video game stores that pull out a random game and be like, "Is this a good game?" Yes. It's a game about a squirrel with a fucking gun. It is awesome. It's not bloody, but it is kind of mature.
And also demand from people who want to buy them to sell them to those people. That's a lot of demand. And sometimes resellers resort to scummy tactics in order to get ahead of other resellers, not just other buyers. But even beyond everything that's been discussed when it comes to the high price of video games so far, there's still one factor that I think is bigger than anything else. And it's the one that I hear people talking the least about. The demand for retro video games and collectibles isn't fueled by sellers. It's fueled by buyers. Ultimately, you and I are responsible for the high prices of retro video games. As buyers, we're the ones bringing the money to the table. If we don't like the price, the item sits, which then forces sellers to have to lower the price to meet the actual market demand that someone is willing to pay for the item. The less you buy, the more the price goes down in order to move the inventory off the shelf.
Oh, you mean like what you were talking about before? Supply and demand? Doesn't that kind of correlate with what you were talking about before and what I said during that point in time? A video game is only as valuable as how much you're willing to fucking pay for it. Like, that's supply and demand, you stupid son of a bitch. The fuck?
When we spend our money on something, we are determining its value based on what we're willing to pay for it. But
that's supply and demand.
To stop buying. Last year I kicked off a series where I spent the entire year buying and reselling video games in order to build the funds to complete my Nintendo 64 collection by buying one last manual that I needed that was worth a couple $1,000s. But the fact is, I chose to do this. No one forced me, and I have to admit, it was a really fun experience. But if, like me, you've ever spent more than the original retail price of a classic video game, congratulations. You are partly responsible for raising the price of classic video games. Collectibles are the definition of unnecessary. They aren't food, water, shelter, or clothing. They're ultimately just things. But many of us, myself included, have spent more time and resources on trying to find unnecessary collectible things in place of things that actually matter, like health, relationships, family.
Oh god, he's gonna get parent on all of us. Like, don't fucking do this, alright? You're gonna destroy the desire of people wanting to fucking collect these things, alright?
And spiritual growth. So really, instead of being...
Dude, this is my spiritual growth, alright? I am feeding my inner child with entertainment from yesteryear. Don't fucking take this away from me, you asshole.
Upset at what's going on with the high price of collectibles and everything going on around you, I would encourage you instead to look inside yourself. Here's a few things that I think are worth calling out. And before I go further, yes, I recognize the hypocrisy of saying all this standing in front of a giant wall of video games.
Especially since they're all complete in fucking box.
And yet at the same time, these are questions I've been going through in my own personal life, and it's led to some changes in the way that I live. When I think about what causes me to go beyond my financial means or to spend...
Oh god damn it, this is like a Jerry Springer. Now here's time for my final thought. This is what it feels like.
More time than I should on this stuff, one of the emotional drivers that pushes me past those boundaries really comes down to FOMO. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is the idea that if I don't get something right now, it's not going to be available to me later.
Oh my god. Okay, look. You want to talk about how, like, this is a detriment to your fucking spiritual growth. Listen, asshole. Like, why would you have fucking FOMO and talk about spiritual growth at the same goddamn time? Listen, okay? And this is me combating this with the same ideology that you're trying to fucking pass off as to why you're not, you don't want people, to realize, you want people to realize that these are just things and shit. Okay? Listen, okay? There is no such thing as the fear of missing out if what you believe is meant to be in your life will happen. Okay? Like that's just as simple as that. Okay? Going back to the whole thing with Little Samson. Okay? I want to say back in 2017 during Super Gathering, there was a group of people that I used to be friends with that were holding a fucking campaign to try to get money raised for another one of my former homies to get to the Gathering of the Juggalos. Well, they made the money, but it also inspired me to open up a PayPal ME so that way I could possibly earn some scratch, so that way I could get a physical copy of Little Samson. This was back in 2017. Now, I ended up fucking stopping the damn thing because they were giving me shit for it, and I stopped it, but the desire to have Little Samson never fucking stopped. Okay? I put it out there in the fucking universe. I envisioned it in my collection. I knew that eventually I was going to get a physical copy of Little Samson. And even though I paid for it for $1,000 more than what it was worth at the time that I put it out there, I still fucking got it. I knew that I was going to get that fucking game eventually. And then something just, and then something clicked. And one day it was in 2 different fucking stores. And on top of that, the 2 different stores where each one had a physical copy of Little Samson were across the street from each other. One of them sold almost immediately. The other one sat there for 6 fucking months. And eventually, there was something that clicked in my head that said, go to the store. Get that motherfucker. You've got the money. Go get it. So I called the store to make sure that it was still there. It was still there. I headed out to the store. I fucking got the game. I knew that it was going to happen. The law of attraction is a very powerful fucking thing. If you believe that you are going to achieve something, then you are going to achieve it. And if you don't, then it is not meant to be in your life at that particular time. Okay, so the fear of, so you just basically have to have that faith and belief that what you want is something that you're going to achieve, and you're going to achieve it. All right, FOMO has no fucking bearing in spirituality or fucking spiritual growth or anything like that. Like I said before, having this stuff is literally feeding my inner fucking child. All right, and I have absolutely no problem with that because, like you said, these are just things, okay? And the stuff that I'm buying is just coming from extra money that I have that I can use after paying for rent, putting food in my mouth, clothes on my back, gas in my car, after paying all of my fucking bills and taking care of myself. What little bit of money that I have after the fact can go into fucking video games because that's my hobby. That's my play money. And the money that I earn off of this platform and Twitch can also fucking go back into the collection. So, FOMO, it's whatever, another example. Today I went hunting for a new Xbox. I went to 5 different fucking video game stores. None of them had it. Doesn't mean, oh, well, then I guess I'll never fucking get it. Or if I fucking buy the damn thing. Like, I literally had one instance of FOMO, and that was when I bought Earthbound. Seeing Earthbound on the shelves gave me anxiety. And I was like freaking the fuck out because I didn't want to leave the store. I wanted to buy it. I needed help, but there was nobody that was able to help me. There were other people in the fucking store, and I was worried that anybody that was asking for help could possibly get the fucking game. But I bought it, and then the pandemic happened, and the price went up insanely high in value. So I think I got it at a pretty good, decent time. But like even if it was like $400 or $350 at the time that I wanted it and I had $350, I would base the difference. It's like, okay, look, this is a game that I want. I'm eventually going to fucking get it, and that's just how it is.
In which case, I would say most of the things in my life, especially everything when it comes to this world of collectibles, I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 times when I've been like, oh man, it's so much more expensive now. And I end up having to sort of spend a little bit more money on it later. But in the meantime,
that's it is what it is.
Might cause me to spend a bunch of money on stuff as soon as it comes out, and it ultimately sits on the shelf and doesn't do anything. One of the biggest ways I noticed this negatively impacting my life was how I collected for the PlayStation Vita. When Vita games went on sale at Limited Run or Play Asia or other retail releases, I would get up at whatever time I had to be there to make sure I could buy the game as soon as it was released at retail. And
oh my god, don't tell me that you're one of those assholes who pre-ordered the fucking Nintendo Switch 2. Don't tell me that you're fucking, one of those assholes, like what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. Like, as a collector, if I really want something, I'll get it. Yeah, still looking for Michael Jackson Moonwalker on Sega CIB. I have it in loose, but eventually, my thought on it is like anything that I buy that's Sega Genesis that's loose, I'll eventually buy the Clippy. For all of the loose games that I have for the NES, like I do not have a single fucking CIB. But eventually I'm just going to buy Clippies for all of those fucking carts. Like, I would rather just have the Clippies than the actual box for the carts. And the Game Boy games and stuff like that. I would rather have the fucking Clippies if it just came in a box. But, like, this type of shit, like, there's a limited time that I've actually, like, the only thing that I've gotten from Limited Run, I bought one game, and that was Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl, and that was because of the fact that I held the world record for speed running that for 3 years before it was fucking beaten. All right, and during that time that I had the world record for speed running Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl, I let them know about it, and they hooked it up, contacted Limited Run, opened up another fucking run of those games, and I ended up buying one copy. I got 3 copies of Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl in the mail. Okay, one of them was the Switch version, and 2 of them are the versions that came out for the regular Nintendo. I'm missing one of them. All right, I have the gray cart, I have the green cart, I'm missing the yellow cart, and I have the arcade version for the Switch. And so, like, I bought it at their retail value for $35. And I'm sitting on probably like maybe $150 for each copy, I think. But like, on the real though, bro, like, don't tell me you were one of those assholes that fucking waited until midnight to pre-order the Switch 2 and overpriced it and bought it at an overprice for fear of missing out. Be like, no, dude, like I said before, when it concerns consoles and stuff, like, whatever. Now, another thing too is like, yeah, we have these physical copies that come out via Limited Run. I'll still wait for the price to fucking go down, and I'm still trying to get a copy. I still want to get a fucking complete in-box copy of Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. But I'm not going to overspend on that motherfucker. I'm going to wait till the price goes down to something that I'm a little bit more comfortable with. Like $50 or something to that effect. And yet I'll buy a fucking video game for like $2,000 because it's just money.
Then I would get the game, put it on my shelf, and be like, I'm going to play that later. And I would never play it. Finally, I'm sitting there looking at this giant wall of games going, I'm not going to play half of these. I did a whole video about
Hey, dickface, maybe you should do what I did. play them to get your fucking money back. That's what I'm doing, and it seems to be working well. And it seems to be working pretty well. Because on Twitch, I'm streaming these games to get my money back, and yeah.
This where I went through the collection and sold half the games, and even today I have plans to sell a lot more because I just know I'm not going to be able to get to them. So ultimately, while I
Oh god, you fucking casual.
do really enjoy the PlayStation Vita, I think a lot of my collecting for it was really not good habits. A lot of it was some of my impulsiveness or the fear of missing out and just thinking the prices are going to get so much more expensive later. But ultimately, it just sat on my shelf. I know so many collectors who have bought into this idea that I need to get something now before it gets super expensive later, only to have many cases where those games get reprinted, those amiibos get reprinted.
Dude, like, the way I look at it when it concerns these fucking things, it's like, whatever will be, will be. That's really all you have to fucking worry about it. Do I still collect ICP physical CDs? No. Like, CDs and movies, for some reason, like, they don't feel the same. Like, I don't have the same feel for physical music and movies that I do with video games. Like, with video games, I feel like I need to have the physical copies. And the reason being is because it dates back to the days of emulating. Because, like, during my days of having emulators, like, I used to have a CD-ROM that had every single Nintendo game and fucking Game Boy game. I had a CD-ROM that had all the Super Nintendo games and a CD-ROM that had all the Sega Genesis and 32X games, each on individual discs. And so I would just start up Nesticle or something like that, pop the NES CD-ROM into the disk drive, and I would spend more time fishing through the titles of the games to try to find what I wanted to play than I would actually spend playing the fucking game I decided on. And most of the time, I would just end up giving up and reverting to a default, which was usually Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo. I would play that game because that's like the one game that really I fucking loved the most. And so, like, with that, I decided to actually retire playing emulated games because I realized that, yes, it's cool to have that entire fucking collection, but at the same time, I'm not taking a look at the fucking art. I don't hold it in my hands. I have more memories with video games than I do with movies and music. Music is easy to get through because of the way that fucking Spotify works and how YouTube music works and things like that. Like, music is easier to fucking, like, it's a different breed or a different animal in its entirety when it concerns having a physical video game collection than it is for music and movies. Like, at any given time, I can listen to Insane Clown Posse in my car, or Ouija Mac, or listening to other things. When I'm at home, I have the capability of watching what movies I want to watch on Netflix or fucking Prime or Disney Plus or something to that effect. Most of the movies that I want to watch anyways usually end up being comic book movies. Sometimes, I don't fucking watch horror movies like I used to. I don't collect those physical media because it doesn't hold as much for me as it does fucking video games. Like, with video games, I feel like I need to hold it in my hands. I need to take a look at the artwork. It basically opens up the mental Rolodex of images and clips of the video games that I'm holding. And if I don't have it, then it's like, okay, I'll just fucking check it out now. But with this guy, he's basically saying, I've got all this stuff. Half of this stuff I'm not ever going to play. And it's like, okay, well, now what? Like, you're just going to sell all your shit? Why don't you do what I do? Like, I'm actually going through my entire video game collection while adding more to fucking play all of them. From the least valued game to the most valued game in that particular order. Digital games, retro games. I'm doing all of that just so that way I have the experience of playing all of these games and getting my money back. And it seems to be working pretty fucking well. Oh yeah, and vinyl collectors, you are a whole different fucking animal. I will say that too. Like you guys are on some shit.
Or you find that item for cheap somewhere else, or you just fork out the money, and really when you compare the amount of...
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, look. If I buy it at some place and I find it for cheaper later down the road, I'm not upset about that. Particularly because of what I'm doing on Twitch, and that's getting my fucking money back because it's eventually going to happen. Like, I'm not only am I gonna fucking make the money that the game is worth at the time that I start playing it, but I'm also going to earn my money back based off of what I spent. Okay, whichever is greater. Like, dude.
money that you might have overspent based on all the time you saved, I think you made the better choice to just wait until you were ready to actually play and enjoy the game. The other thing that I think is worth exploring internally is why we're willing to pay more from some people and less from others, specifically people that we watch on the internet. A lot of our favorite YouTubers and other personalities have different platforms they use to sell online, all fine and good. But sometimes we feel a bit of an obligation when we're in those shows or rooms where we feel like we've got to spend more, and it's almost a sense of like wanting to make sure that like we're cool with that other person. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but if you've ever overspent because you're excited to buy from someone, maybe there's a value in that for you, and I'm not going to judge that. But ultimately, at some point,
Yeah, I
you
guess
have to
so.
ask yourself, why do I feel compelled to buy more or to spend more on a certain personality that I really enjoy, rather than just to pay the retail price otherwise?
See, I'm not gonna fucking buy something from a personality and have that be the basis of my comparison, really. I mean, like, in all honesty, like, okay, I've got DVDs that, yeah, hold on a second, they're actually right here. So, like, I ended up buying To Boldly Flee and this from Doug Walker, and they're both fucking signed by Doug Walker, but I bought them for like $20 each. They're DVDs I bought for $20. And literally you can watch To Boldly Flee for free, but I bought it for $20 because now I have it physical. And because it's fucking, yeah, it's Doug Walker, but like the thing about this is like it's like $20. It's a fucking movie. A movie is $20 anyways. And on top of that, like, I support that because I'm pretty sure that there was some financial issues with those fucking movies. I mean, you can tell if you watch the fucking movie. It's an underground movie. But like if it's a reseller or a video game online YouTube personality that's selling their video games, I'm not going to buy it for more because of it being from somebody like, let's say it's this guy. I'm not going to fucking pay more for a video game just because it's coming from a social media figure. Best way to experience music, sound is amazing. Yeah, I understand that, but it's inconvenient to me. For music and movies, it's all about convenience. For video games, it's all about physicality. Physical media is important, and I do agree to that because there are, like, with digital media, and I think that we've actually seen this with like Warner Brothers or Paramount, where they could just take a fucking movie off the shelf, off the digital shelf, for no reason whatsoever. And hell, there are even times where they'll just remove something. Like I had a physical copy, like I had a digital copy on my mobile phone of a game called Shadowrun Returns, and for some reason it's no longer on the fucking it's no longer on the store anymore. I bought it for $20, and I can't re-download it for some fucking reason. Like I have no way to fucking re-download that game. It's no longer on the fucking list, and I can't fucking bring it back. And I bought it for $20. It's $20 lost, unfortunately. I know I got 15 minutes left, but I feel like that this dude's gonna fucking, I don't know. Should we continue this, or should we go on to the last topic? Because there's one other topic that I wanted to fucking talk about. But we can either finish this and let this be the last segment, or we can just go on to the next segment and let that be the last one. All right, we got continue. Let's best 2 out of 3. All right. The next person that says either next or continue will make the determining factor. Because both of those came back to back. All right, continue. Originally is voting continue. All right, so we'll continue with this, and this will be the last thing of the night. Let's hope for the best that this dude has a fucking good final thought.
I get it. There's a sense of community. There's a sense of trust. I have my own platforms that I sell on. But sometimes when people way overspend, I think sometimes they get caught up in wanting to appear as though they're special or something like that to someone else. We use terms like parasocial relationships to explain this phenomenon. But maybe the biggest factor, especially in myself, is just a general sense of impulsiveness. That sense of a lack of ability to say no because you just want to have something. I go through a few different steps to manage my feelings of impulsiveness. And they don't just come up for video games, it comes up for a lot of things in my life. Usually I can first recognize when the feeling is an impulsive feeling. And when you develop some of that self-awareness, you realize, oh, I need to do something about this. So for me, I put on myself a temporary week-long or month-long sort of holding period where I'm like, I can't make this purchase unless I really want to get the thing at the end of that period of time. And that doesn't mean it's video games only. It could be for production gear, amazing cardigans, or...
Oh my god. Okay, so it sounds like he's going through his fucking list of how he determines things in his daily life. Now, when it concerns, like, video games and shit, like, I'll tell you this. Like, when I go to a video game store, sans what happened today, when I go to a video game store, usually I don't know what it is I'm searching for. All I just know is that I have money and I want to spend it, and I don't know exactly what it is. But when I get to the video game store, whichever one I choose to go to that day, I gauge what I'm going to buy, not just on the value of the game, but also what catches my eye. So, like, I'll fucking look around at I'll look around at the video games and stuff, and if something catches my eye, I'm going to then take a look at what it is that catches my eye, see if it's interesting to me at the time that I'm looking at it, and then I'll determine it based off of the price. And usually the one thing that really fucking is what sends me overboard is the buy 5, get 1 free deal that most video game stores tend to have. But like, that's usually the impulsiveness, and sometimes I get it based off of a good gauge. Like, it's to a point now where I'm actually fucking, when I go to the store and I buy this shit, I usually have a pretty good eye for things, and that's actually really helped me out a lot in my collecting. And with the video game stores that I go to, I personally feel like I have done this for so long that I have a good pulse on this gaming community, to a point now where I don't, when I take a look at a game, I don't even bother anymore to look at the price before I decide to buy it and base the comparison off of what I'm seeing on price charting. I'll do that when I get home, and 9 times out of 10, it's actually a pretty good deal. So like so for me, my impulsiveness is actually a benefit. And it also bases off of the surroundings. Like I said, I know going into a video game store is going to be different than going to a flea market or seeing a reseller at a con.
Some other sort of thing in my life that is cool, but is ultimately not essential. But ultimately, it's an invitation to ask yourself this question: why do I need to have this thing so badly? And when you can answer that question...
because I want to fucking flex, that's why.
It may be connected to something much deeper that's really worth exploring. And
feeding my inner child.
Looking inward is far less interesting than blaming everyone else and resellers and everyone for the cause of your problems and why stuff is too expensive or whatever else. Be careful. The more that we say that the rest of the world is the cause of your problems, and the less you look at your contribution to those problems, the more you become a victim. Now, I say all of this with
fucking
the utmost
guy.
sensitivity. A lot of people have been through the unspeakable. A lot of people have been victimized by really terrible people and terrible circumstances, and I don't mean to excuse...
I'm regretting this decision.
Or somehow suggest that you are responsible for that behavior. What I am trying to say is that we are responsible for our own behavior and what we choose to do.
Oh my god. Okay, like, this dude all of a sudden just became a fucking psychoanalysis guy. Like, I'm starting to regret this decision of continuing.
And that can be really, really difficult. Whenever I take the time to go inward, it's not...
You know what? Fuck this guy. You know what? I'm sorry to the people who said continue, but, like, this dude just decided to go on psychoanalysis. I'm actually going to talk about the next fucking thing and try to get this done as quickly as I possibly can, because this is one of those topics that I've been holding off on for the longest time, and on top of that, there's also been an update. Yeah. Man, fuck this dude, okay? And his Jerry Springer final thought. The last games are like crack. Yes, they are. But it's my fucking hobby, and I love it, and I love being a nerd, I love being a gamer, and I will not fucking turn back. And it's really disappointing when I see people that actually fucking have this mindset, and they're just like, I have too much, I'm never gonna play all of these games, I'm just gonna fucking sell them all. Well, fuck you then, you fucking sellout. You goddamn casual. Yeah, fuck this guy. We're going to talk about somebody who's better or worse depending on your fucking personality and how you look at things. So I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. The Trump tariffs.
Across the world, the doors are closing to Chinese exports.
Yeah, you know why? Because of the whole fucking tariff war between America and China. You know, like, Trump's like, dude, we're putting up fucking tariffs, and a couple of countries bent the knee, but China was just like, no, we're going to fucking dick measure with Donald Trump, which really, there is very little difference from what I've seen and heard when you compare Chinese and Donald Trump in the dick measuring contest. But at some point, it ended up being with the Chinese fucking tariffing the Americans with 125% tariffs, and fucking we as America ended up tariffing China for 145%. Now, the thing about this is, like, there's a lot of companies in our country that do have factories in China and other outside countries in order for them to try to increase on profit, which, by the way, side story, fuck Walmart, because they decided to increase their fucking prices on everything due to the tariffs in China, because they had a 4% fucking profit. They're also planning on closing their fucking their self checkout, and we all know that every Walmart only has 2 people in checkout, so you're just gonna have a huge fucking line of people trying to buy groceries. But in order to skip the line, you can actually fucking now start paying to use the self-service checkout line. Fuck Walmart. Trying to get their profits off of this, which is funny. But this video, by the way, is talking about how, even though China has been trying to say, oh yeah, we'll be fine with the tariffs that China that China is having put on them by America, they're actually collapsing China's entire economy.
Chinese manufacturers are rapidly running out of options. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. We're still deep in our fight with YouTube and Google over censorship. So help us out by leaving a comment with the honey emoji to show YouTube and the CCP you like the show.
Cares.
So I'm going to give China some credit here. The rise of China's manufacturing sector has been nothing short of astounding.
Now, one thing I will also say in addition to this is, due to the tariff shit, like, there is a company that I go to buy some stuff for my video game shit, because I found out that 8-Bit Do actually figured out a way on how to release a Bluetooth dongle for the Sega Saturn. They already have, like, a fucking OEM board that you can put into the Sega Saturn controllers so you can make them Bluetooth. And now that that's a capability, I want to get a Bluetooth controller made for my Sega Saturn. It's a DIY project. So basically, you just take out the old OEM board and you put the new one back in, and boom, it's a Bluetooth controller. So I went on there to check the prices, and I had the money to be able to buy this shit, but I wasn't able to buy it because they ended up saying due to the tariffs that were put on fucking China, like they were only able to sell from their American manufacturers, and their Chinese manufacturers are the ones that make the OEM boards for the for all their DIY projects. In America, they have all of the other shit like the pre-made fucking Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz controllers, their wireless controllers. So you can buy those, but you can't buy the fucking OEM boards, which is what I fucking want. So I wasn't able to do that, and I ended up spending it on something else. But hey, check this out. What's happening?
What started out as a few sweatshops in underdeveloped fishing villages in the 1980s, churning out toys, t-shirts, and sneakers for a few Western markets, has turned into an unrivaled manufacturing superpower, producing goods of all kinds for the global economy. Which means working conditions are way better now, right?
No.
Right? In 1995, China was behind around 5% of global gross production. But by 2023, that number had soared to around 35%.
Jesus.
Nearly 3 times as much as the US, in second place with only 12%. Which just proves you can do anything with hard work, determination, and churning out cheap crap thanks to non-existent labor and quality control laws with massive state subsidies.
Ain't that the fucking truth? This is why on eBay, I never buy anything if it says that it's made in China. And because, like, dude, like, in America, we factor in a lot of shit on quality. Like, do you really think that you're going to want to fucking buy something that is American if it has a made in China sticker on it? I don't think so. I mean, like, imagine if if you take a look at the quality of a lot of shit that fucking comes out of China, it is subpar in comparison to a lot of the stuff that you can get from, like, Taiwan, Zanzibar, fucking Michigan, whatever exotic fucking location that you want to fucking throw a dart at and hit. China is dog water when it concerns a lot of the stuff that they fucking churn out, because they're mass producing everything for the entire fucking world, and they don't have really a whole lot of good regulations. We have a thing out here called OSHA. And we also have high standards and promises of of at least 99% satisfaction guaranteed, or your fucking money back. China doesn't have that. China basically has, take what you get, fuck you.
Most of these products are exported, and it's become the backbone of the Chinese economy. What's called China's export-led growth model.
Yep.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping has been a big fan of this model. So much so that he has even encouraged Chinese kids to forgo college to instead study manufacturing to fill factory jobs, keeping the manufacturing engine running. Children yearn for the factories. Also, this shirt was for sure made in China. So why not go all in on Chinese manufacturing? I'll tell you why not in a minute. But first, YouTube has been soft censoring this channel. But you can subvert YouTube censorship by subscribing to our free weekly newsletter.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Of nearly $1 trillion last year, the likes of which haven't been seen anywhere else in the world since the world.
Like, are you going to tell me on the minute, every minute that, YouTube is censoring your fucking shit? You're not making as much money as you were a couple of months ago. I don't blame Trump for the tariffs on that one, I guess. So what were you saying?
Helped China score an overall trade surplus of nearly $1 trillion last year, the likes of which haven't been seen anywhere else in the world since the World Wars.
Okay.
But such a massive surplus is unlikely to happen again anytime soon, now that we're in a new world war, this time on trade, and hopefully only on trade. Because in this looming trade war, Chinese manufacturers are facing an absolute wipeout.
Yeah.
You see, after China was granted membership at the World Trade Organization in 2001, global tariffs against the country fell away, granting Chinese manufacturers much better access to foreign markets, which hasn't negatively impacted the rest of the world at all.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, Not at all. Yeah, that's never fucking happened.
As you can see here from footage of the US's manufacturing base.
Oh yeah, that's just one of them. Like, dude, fucking so many and the sad thing is, it's like major manufacturing companies here in the United States have all outsourced to different countries. Like in Michigan, we have the car manufacturing industry, and for the last 15 years, factories have been shutting down, whether it be from GM, Stellantis, which used to be Chrysler, Ford. They've all outsourced to different fucking countries. Like, we sell parts that go to fucking Canada, and then they manufacture shit with the parts from my job. We sell parts to Canadian factories or Mexico, and then they manufacture certain things, and then they bring them back here to the fucking States. And you wonder why a fucking car is costing like $49,000. Okay, it's because of that constant fucking back and forth and tariffs between each other and countries and shit. And yet when people fucking see Donald Trump trying to make it so there's like an equal fucking trade in between the countries that we fucking trade with, and people want to bitch about that shit. But like, Trump literally fucking created a new reason why tariffs exist, and he's using it as a bargaining chip. And people seem to be fucking upset about it. In this case, it's like, okay, look, they double down, we double down. Let's see whose dick is bigger between America and China. And, well, we ended up fucking bringing out the big stick with 145% tariffs. And then they stopped.
I talked more about how the Chinese Communist Party gamed the global trading system in this episode. As a result, China is now the main trading partner of more than 120 different countries.
Okay.
But following Trump's recent tariff mania, the US and China have found themselves in an escalating tariff war, with American tariffs on Chinese goods surging to 145%. It's difficult to say how these tariffs will look long term, but even if they were to be reduced somewhat, the high tariff level and the instability of US-China trade relations are increasingly shutting the doors of the US market to Chinese manufacturers, cutting them off from their biggest customer. Now, after Trump's first tariff war...
Yeah, because if there's anything that we can say about America is the national the national pastime is no longer baseball, it's consumerism. Like, America is one of the biggest fucking consumers for a lot of companies, whether it be like Nike or Mattel or Nintendo, fucking cars, whatever. We are materialistic folk. Okay, we like our shit. And we like to buy our shit, keep it, and hold it indefinitely. And buy more shit. And when it concerns like the outsourcing with like China and stuff like that, like all of our fucking major manufacturers and companies fucking outsource to China. And the reason being is because of low labor costs and high output, and they can sell these things for whatever the fuck they want. Like, you can literally buy a fucking pair of shoes in China. You can buy a pair of Nikes for like 10, 15 American dollars. Here, you got to buy them for like $250. And people act like that's a flex because they're buying a pair of disposable shoes for $250. Me personally, I'd rather buy Skechers because they're cheaper. Fuck Nike. And, the occasional pair of Converse Chuck Taylors, but those are still cheaper than fucking Nikes. Even though Nike shoes, you're basically buying the fucking label, son. You're not buying a quality pair of shoes.
War with China in 2018, many Chinese manufacturers set out to protect themselves against such a shutoff by establishing factories and facilities in other countries such as Indonesia, Vietnam, and Mexico, piggybacking off their markets to bypass American trade restrictions.
Yeah, but a lot of those countries that fucking bent the knee to America on the tariff thing, they've actually said fuck you to China now. So China doesn't have anywhere to fucking ship shit. As a matter of fact, like the stuff that was already getting ready to be shipped out in the middle of this tariff war between America and China, they actually went back to fucking China and be like, we can't We can't. So the fucking so their shipping ports got fucking flooded. And there was stuff sitting there for like a month.
But this time, Trump has been swinging his tariff hammer at almost everyone.
Yeah, hammer. Like, Trump has been dick swinging hard with the tariff thing. No, like, you can't fucking front.
Like an economic berserker. And it's leaving little room for Chinese producers to circumvent tariffs. Even more concerning for the Chinese side, countries like Mexico have reportedly proposed to match U.S. tariffs on China, with a similar message coming from Vietnam. Something that's allegedly an element in the Trump administration's efforts, at least for now. And something that the Chinese government has been fiercely warning countries against doing. Though I don't know what that warning is. If you make this deal, it's gonna be good for you and bad for us, so don't, please? There are some Chinese manufacturers that are so propped up on central and local government subsidies and political will that no matter what happens, they can go on as so-called zombie firms. Unproductive firms
what does that
can
mean?
just about service their debt and make payroll.
Okay.
But for hundreds of thousands of medium and small manufacturers, that's not the case. Instead of being like The Walking Dead, they'll soon just be dead. A lot of them were already being squeezed on their margins by fierce competition at home, and now, with the very difficult circumstances abroad, they're left with fewer ways to unload their products. And they are frustrated. One Chinese producer of mosquito repellent kits sold in Walmart said Trump is a crazy man after the U.S. tariffs led his products being stuck in boxes in a warehouse in China instead of heading for the American market.
Okay.
I wonder if their mosquito repellent would work on any other annoying bloodsuckers. In another case, the Chinese outdoor...
That's fucking fantastic. Oh, man. How did you fucking think that one up? That's beautiful. All right, there we go. Got that fixed.
Furniture maker who opened a factory in Vietnam last July to escape higher U.S. tariffs is now looking to close it, saying, I've done all this work for nothing. At the same time, a manufacturer of Christmas decorations for U.S. retailers, including Walmart and Costco, has seen his orders evaporate amid the Trump tariffs.
No shit.
According to Reuters, he is now in survival mode.
So, like, yeah, because of the Trump tariffs, basically, like, the entire fucking market in China is starting to slowly collapse. Like, there have actually been fucking factories left and right that have been shutting down because of the tariffs. Nobody wants to buy from these companies. Without money, there's nothing to fucking fund these companies that these major corporations are outsourcing to in order to make this shit. That was the point that Trump was going to fucking make. This is why when Trump said it's going to hurt for a little bit, but we are actually going to be able to make do with it in the long term. So why, like, and of course, some of us in this country go out of their way to try to find the fucking negative side of it and try to say that Trump is psychotic and that he's doing this to line his own pockets and his billionaire buddies. But see, the thing though is, like, what he's trying to do is he's trying to create fair trade with all of the other countries because we've been getting fucked in the ass, and which is for years, if not decades, by all of these other countries taking advantage of trying to get money from us. And so what Trump wanted to do was try to create equal and fair trade amongst other countries, and also at the same time bringing manufacturing back from these countries to create more jobs. But the problem right now is that all of these companies that are outsourcing to China, they want their fucking shoes that cost $10 to make to sell for $250, so that way they can all fucking make a profit. And instead of bringing the manufacturing back to the country and creating more jobs for the American people, because we don't have a whole lot of jobs, and this is something that I hold on to personally because of the fact that I'm from Michigan and I have seen the auto industry fucking collapse over the last decade and a half. Maybe even longer than that. I have personally been seeing it. Factories fucking closing, being shut down. Everything's being outsourced to either Canada or Mexico or China. And like people, like thousands of fucking people, even in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I'm from, thousands of people losing their fucking jobs after working in the auto industry for 10, 20, 30, 40 fucking years with no paycheck, no pension, no fucking 401k, just gone. Their entire livelihood's just gone. And they have no choice but to try to find some other fucking place to work. And some of them ended up fucking moving out of the state or being homeless if they couldn't find a fucking job here in Michigan. So it's like, it's shit like that that actually is one of these reasons why I support this, because I want jobs to come back to the States. So that way we don't have to have shanty towns like goddamn Sacramento and San Francisco and other places in SoCal. But that's basically what he's explaining, is like, now that Trump's tariffs fucking came into play, fucking China stopped dick swinging, and eventually like all of these companies started shutting down. They tried to make it look like everything was fine and everything was dandy, that China didn't need us. But the reality is that a vast majority of the companies that are from America are outsourcing to China, and that's how they get their money. And we fucking spend, so that way they continue to fucking work. They need us a lot more than they want to admit. But China and the US did eventually fucking work out a plan.
Global stock markets are soaring thanks to President Trump's latest trade truce with China, and the world's two largest economic superpowers have agreed to slash tariffs by 115%.
Yeah, and people thought that this wasn't going to happen. When the tariff thing happened, the fucking Dow dropped like 9,000 points, and it's been slowly fucking rising up since then. And everybody thought that was going to shut down the economy. But like I said last week, the economy is not based off of how much the Dow is worth, okay? Stock trading doesn't have any fucking means whatsoever to determine how much things are going to fucking cost. But China and US did finally fucking make an agreement.
That means there's still some in there, but they're much lower, and it's for a 90-day period.
Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Okay? Fucking, the US and China both cut tariffs down. Okay? China went from 125% to 10%. Now, by the way, China was putting an 8% tariff on everything that came back to the United States. An 8% tariff. Okay? So they went up. Fucking 2%. And we ended up dropping it from 145 to 30% tariffs, right? This is the deal that the US and China ended up making. Now, I don't remember, if I remember correctly, our fucking tariffs on China was lower than that. And now it's actually a little bit better, because now we're getting 30% back, which is like six, I think it's like somewhere between like 6 to 10 times better than what we had before. And people want to bitch about this still.
So, Wall Street, the corner of Wall and Broad, liking the cooling off that they see. The deal cuts reciprocal tariffs, again, by 115%. And China will reduce pressure on U.S. products from 125% down to 10%.
Yep.
The U.S. will temporarily lower tariffs on Chinese goods from 145 to 30%. So you see, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent revealed that this breakthrough was able to happen under President Trump because China walked all over Biden.
Very true. He was a fucking pushover. But then again, it's easy to push over a guy who can barely fucking walk upstairs and trying to shake the hands of people who don't exist. You know, like Biden was a very passive fucking pussy hole of a fucking president. And Trump right now is showing what it means to fucking have respect. And we as a country are fucking getting it back under his leadership. As much as the Democrats don't really want to admit it.
In January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations.
And now that President Trump was able to make major progress with China, he's eyeing an agreement with the European Union next. But warns those talks will be tougher.
Now, also on top of that, he's also, like, Trump also was on a fucking tour in the Middle East. And that was actually interesting to watch. I didn't have footage of that, but it was basically pretty interesting to watch that stuff on TikTok. Some of the clips that I had seen where one country, I think it was Qatar, they ended up not rolling out the red carpet, they rolled out the purple carpet, which is supposed to include royalty. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia considers Donald Trump not just president of the United States, but basically king of the fucking world. There's a lot of respect coming from the Middle East with Donald Trump, which is interesting because we've been at odds with the Middle East as far back as I can remember. Like back in the 80s, we've been having issues with Saudi Arabia and Iran and Iraq and all of these other fucking countries except Qatar. Qatar has actually been one of our closest fucking Middle Eastern allies outside of Israel. Now, Trump doing the fucking the sand tour, and also like working with these going to Switzerland to fucking work out a deal with China and these tariffs. Now he's going to be going to the European Union. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. Why does my fucking camera keep fucking freezing? I think it's trying to tell me it's time to go. I'll go when I want to, god damn it.
In all parts of the European Union, they were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that. I see that with trade, too. European Union is, in many ways, nastier than China. We've just started with them.
China.
Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards. They treated us very unfairly.
Yep. I mean, like all the countries have. Like, I feel like there's a lot of countries that we have done trade deals with and tariff deals that they ended up getting the advantage of us because we're the big spender and we're the ones who are going to fucking get the most out of all of these tariffs. So everybody was able to capitalize, and that actually in turn turned our country nearly into a third world country. I mean, it kind of looks like it depending on what area and what city you go to, though, because you see a lot of fucking tents and tarps.
All the cards, David.
Yeah. I watched the European Union debate. It was a few days ago on the tariffs, and you could see the setup already. And President Trump is right. There are so many moving parts in Europe, and it's either full-on anti-Trump or they can't preserve their socialism. The other thing they face in Europe is that Germany is breaking away a little bit from this. You see the shifts in Germany, and they're sick of being basically the economic lapdog for the other countries. So they're not as aligned as they'd like to be.
I think with Germany, I think Germany's probably been getting fucked over by the EU for obvious fucking reasons since probably sometime around like 1945. Presumably.
But there are a lot of people that are just living in that TDS world. And I saw that in the debates. I watched a couple of hours of it and realized that this is what we're up against.
That is indeed a Hatchet Man flag with a Nintendo controller in it.
But China proves one thing, that when you stop playing games with them and pay attention to their weakness, China's not as strong as they'd like to be. They're our biggest trade deficit. But the fact is that they're weak because if their goods sit there and they're an export economy, they're not selling to maintain their communism.
Yeah, they're basically, yeah. See, like, you know, I remember when on TikTok, like TikTok was about to fucking shut down and everybody started trying to go to Red Note and stuff like that. Everybody that was on Red Note, whoop whoop, fam. So everybody on Red Note tried to fucking make it look like, oh yeah, like it's not as bad as what everybody thinks. And it's like, okay, well later we see this shit and the fucking export economy that is China ends up fucking starting to collapse because of the fucking tariffs. Oh, it's worse than we think. You know, it's like they tried to fucking keep a safe face. It's kind of like, have you ever watched that movie, The Interview, where like fucking what's his face and Seth Rogen end up fucking going to North Korea to get an interview with Qui-Gon Jinn or whatever the fuck his name is, and he ends up I don't fucking know whoever the Kim Jong Un, yeah, that's who it was. So they're supposed to be getting an interview with Kim Jong Un, and Kim Jong Un ends up making it look like that North Korea is not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. And then during the like right before the interview, fucking like what's his face ends up taking a walk around town and finds out that one of the restaurants or one of the grocery stores that they have is actually fucking fake, and everything is actually as bad, if not worse, than what they made it out to be here in America. So, they end up fucking doing the interview, fuck over Kim Jong Un, and make him look like a bitch during the interview, and embarrass him in front of his entire country. And then they try to kill the guys, but they make it out alive. But still, nevertheless, it's like we see, like what I saw on Red Note for the fleeting moment that I was in, they acted like they were happy as fuck to see us coming in solidarity and all this other stuff, but there was just something wrong about it to me. And so like I decided to no longer be a part of Red Note, and I shut down my account. But what I just saw was just like everybody was like overly happy to see that type of shit, and it was just like, no, sorry, but we're here to try to save ourselves apparently from TikTok being shut down, and we're not here to save you, you know. But they try to make it look like, oh yeah, we're being treated well. It's better than what they make it out to be. It's like, yeah, but we're like looking at major cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, and those major cities have actually had a boom because of the export economy that they have fucking created. Outside of those cities, in the rest of the fucking country, it's bad. It's fucking bad. And so, like, because of the fact that they ended up doing this whole fucking turnaround with their economy and made it solely about exporting goods and having most of our fucking companies making our parts and pieces and equipment and all that other shit in China, once that starts to fall apart, it's a domino effect. And that's exactly what happened because of the fucking tariffs.
So, Kennedy, can you talk to us about really what this means in a broader sense with the European Union? They don't have a singular dollar over there. You've still got the British. You have a lot of people on the continent who do things differently financially.
Yes.
How much does all that matter?
Well, it does matter because the European Union came into existence to compete with America on the global stage, hoping to be, the third leg in a hegemonic triad. And that has not necessarily been the case because there have, for the last couple decades, been several countries in the EU that have really dragged their economy down, and they've tried to restructure their debt over the years. And I don't blame Germany. I mean, Bavaria wants to secede from Germany because they're prosperous,
Wow.
and you have other parts of the country that, the social safety net is acting like an anvil. So they're doing whatever they can, but I'm sorry, like the free market and appealing to consumers is the best way to go instead of creating a system of dependency that is unsustainable in any country, in any language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at not from
I barely understood what she fucking said, but sure.
through the lens of an economist by any means, but just as an American, as I have been told that under the prior administration, our obligations were ignored. And I can't skip over that, because the idea and the concept of an abdication of duty is something that somehow the left pushed a narrative for us that it was somehow tolerable. And they reframe President Trump's actions as somehow that of a self-serving dictator. When
Yep.
the opposite is true. He is finally, for once, fighting for the American people and America as an actual global superpower, or simply as just mighty and independent, rather than being totally trod upon by all of these countries like China, where the capitulations and policies of the prior administration and Democrats like it are what got us into that cheap, fast, casual, tariffs imbalance, high debt mess in the first place. So bravo. And just remember that the narrative will never let this be a joy or a success. They will continue painting this in poor light.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Like, to me, it's like, yeah, it was previous administrations, not just Biden, but a lot of other administrations that allowed this to fucking happen, and then they fucking lied to us, the American people, about how everything is fine, everything is good, like nobody really acted like that was such a problem. But we really didn't see that until Biden fucking came around, where Biden was saying stocks have never been higher, our economy is booming. You know, like he would say those two as if it was a correlation. You know, which has now convinced people to believe that as long as the stock market's up, then our economy's better. But half these people only stick their faces in their fucking phones and only see what they want to see. They don't go outside and see what's actually fucking happening. When I was doing stuff as an Uber driver, I was shocked at how badly the fucking homelessness issue is. And I started to put the pieces together. Like I said, you know, in the auto industry, we had factories all over Michigan, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, continually fucking shutting down because of the fact that they were being outsourced to different countries so that way they could save money and get a better profit. So that way, you know, because like for the companies, it wasn't even about how we're doing as a people anymore. It's about their bottom dollar and what they can fucking do to fucking make more money for their company so that way they can give bonuses to themselves and try to increase their fucking bottom line. And it was just basically fucking the American people. Trump saw that shit. Trump knew that there was a lowering of jobs that were coming in. And then Biden tried to fucking say, we brought all those jobs back, they're ours now. Even though Trump, during his first term, was making more fucking jobs. And then those jobs got shut down during COVID. And then they fucking came back during the Biden administration. Biden took credit for that as if to say that he created millions of jobs that were already fucking shut down. And it's like, no, you just took what somebody else fucking did and made it the credit for yourself. I'm like, no, that's not how it fucking works. Like, fuck that shit. And personally, I'm glad to see that the shit between America and China has kind of been straightened out. So now I'm thinking that now would probably be a good time for me to get that video game controller OEM that I've been wanting for the last couple of weeks. I am kind of curious because I don't know if the thing with Trump doing shit in the EU has happened yet. If it is, we might end up talking about it next week. But this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for the last couple of weeks. I've just been putting it on hold just to fucking deal with it. And it's just, man, personally, I feel like that things are going to start getting better from here on out. But the only other thing that I haven't talked about that I probably should talk about sometime in the near future is the fact that with all of the stuff that Trump has implicated to do, that we need to have fucking Congress help out, they have not been helping out. Like the House and the Senate have basically been taking as many fucking vacations as they possibly can, and all of the stuff that Trump has put into executive action that they need to fucking do has not been done yet. And I think that that's something that I'm going to have to talk about next week, because without the House and the Senate putting votes on the bills that Trump has been putting out to try to make executive decisions, they're not fucking doing shit. Like, from what people have been telling me, and from what I have seen on social media from some of these people who actually know a little bit more about it than I do, it seems to me like a lot of these people, especially since it could be done because we run, because we have the House, we have the Senate as Republicans, like these things could be fucking done. They're just not doing them, and it seems like they're planning to use those bills as bargaining chips to try to ensure that they continue to fucking stay in the House and the Senate respectively in the near future when the midterms come up next year. So we might have to talk about that next week, but I'm going to get the fuck up out of here. So thank you guys for coming in, watching, and participating up in the chat. I'm going to get up out of here. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Deuces.